Warrior Lore. Chapter 24:19. Rumble. Rumble. At the same time, the scarlet demonic horse monkey Yuan's spirit vein spirit rushed out. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. The space where the lightning symbol passed seemed to directly collapse. An energy pressure of destructive lightning aura that caused one to be terrified spread out from the 10,000 feet large thunderbolt, causing the entire space to violently tremble. Brat, you tricked me. The middle-aged space spirit's eyes widened. At this moment, he sensed a terrifying destructive aura sweeping towards him. This destructive aura was enough to make him tremble in fear. In his panic, the middle-aged space spirit rapidly changed his hand seals. The space around him fluctuated and a misty aura erupted. But at this moment, a strange scene occurred. The lightning on the crimson horse monkey primordial spirit's body was no longer affected by this space. It directly swept towards the middle-aged space spirit. The terrifying lightning talisman turned into runic ripples, sweeping through the void like a tsunami. The middle-aged space spirit staggered back, his eyes filled with shock. The terrifying lightning aura had greatly affected him. I didn't trick you. You wanted to merge with my ancient desolate space. You forgot that the ancient desolate space is also mine. Now you have lost your backing. As the middle-aged space spirit staggered to a stop, suddenly, as soon as Du Xiaofu finished speaking, a dazzling golden talisman light spread behind him like a blazing sun. Suddenly, a huge crystalline ape appeared. The golden ape's innate spirit eyes overlooked everything in the world. It suddenly punched out, landing directly on the middle-aged space spirit's back. Bang! Bang! At this moment, the crimson horse monkey primordial spirit was no longer affected by the ancient, desolate space. It suddenly appeared. The fist was wrapped in a hazy light, as if it was the beginning of heaven and earth. It seemed to be able to sweep through all directions and suppress everything. There was an indescribable pressure, as if it wanted to burst one's primordial spirit. It also contained the power of several types of spiritual lightning. Puffed! The fist landed on the middle-aged space spirit's back, causing him to stagger forward. Rumble. Bang! Du Xiaofu's main body appeared. The thunder martial vein activated. Purple gold lightning exploded, punishing the world. Continue. The redbone horse monkey's primordial spirit meridian soul stood there with its head held high. Its entire body was sparkling and translucent. It was like a terrifying lord had appeared in this world. Its terrifying aura gave off an incomparable sense of oppression. The dazzling, mysterious runes of the lightning talisman spread out like the sun. A terrifying aura spread out. It was as if the thunder god had awakened from his slumber. The destructive lightning was awakened. A thunderbolt that was completely condensed from the lightning talisman's energy appeared and exploded with a rumbling sound. Wherever this thunderbolt passed, a large area of space was directly distorted, revealing traces of cracks. In the blink of an eye, the lightning struck the middle-aged spirit of space. At that moment, the middle-aged soul of space was terrified. His eyes trembled, and his whole body emitted a chill. His body was engulfed by lightning, and cracks began to appear on it. Brat, you still can't do anything to me. How about we discuss this? The middle-aged space soul continuously retreated in the void. A misty aura spread and enveloped him. His heart was filled with fear, but he pretended to be calm and gloomy as he spoke. There's no room for negotiation. Du Xiaofu did not say anything more. He activated his lightning martial vein, and the golden rock wings swooped down. His aura was overbearing and terrifying. The purple gold lightning filled the void and spread toward the middle-aged spirit of space. At that moment, the redbone horse monkey's primordial spirit meridian soul also erupted with all its strength. Several types of spiritual thunder spread out and swept out. Rumble. Boom. The thunderbolt exploded. At that moment, countless lightning bolts exploded in the void and danced in the void. Dazzling lightning snakes rippled crazily in the void. Du Xiaofu could feel that the middle-aged spirit of space was afraid of the spiritual thunder and the lightning martial vein. At that moment, he was no longer suppressed in the ancient, desolate space. He could only go all out. It was a life-and-death battle with the middle-aged spirit of space. If you live, I die. If you die, I live. There was no room for negotiation. Once the middle-aged spirit of space found another opportunity, there would be no turning back. Finally, the middle-aged soul of space let out a miserable shriek from the dazzling thunderbolts of various colors. His illusory body seemed to be destroyed in an instant, and a ball of light wrapped in dazzling talisman runes swept out, as if it was about to disappear into the void. That was the energy body of the middle-aged spirit of space. Strictly speaking, this was the spirit of space of desolate space. He was about to escape. Rumble. Rumble. However, Du Xiaofu was already prepared. The surrounding lightning formed a huge, ancient lightning spider web that covered the void. It was like an inescapable net. The terrifying aura in the dazzling lightning was like the nemesis of all primordial spirits and souls. It easily enveloped the middle-aged spirit of space. The primordial spirit of the middle-aged spirit of space screamed. The talisman runes around his primordial spirit were destroyed in the dazzling lightning. The misty chi that erupted from his body turned into wisps of green smoke and was finally swallowed by the lightning. Boy, do you really think you can swallow me? I am the spirit of space. You can't succeed. The spirit of space's voice was heard. The spirit of space shattered and suddenly disappeared in the void. It swept out in all directions. Du Xiaofu stood in the void. His body was wrapped in purple-gold lightning, and he squinted his eyes. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was still the spirit of the desolate ancient space. Therefore, he knew everything about this place. The spirit of the space was hidden within the entire desolate ancient space. It wasn't going to be easy to destroy it completely. Have you forgotten? You are the spirit of space. I am too. The voice came out of Du Xiaofu's mouth. The red horse monkey-veined soul turned into a dazzling bolt of lightning and disappeared into the space between his eyebrows. When the voice fell, Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged in the void. The thunder vein and green spirit armor on his body gradually disappeared. At the same time, silver-gold lightning bolts shot out from the space between Du Xiaofu's eyebrows and instantly covered his body. In the end, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. With Du Xiaofu as the center, strands of dazzling silver-gold lightning bolts spread out in all directions. They spread throughout the entire desolate space. Finally, they spread throughout the entire desolate space. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was sitting cross-legged. The silver-gold lightning bolts spread out around him. Thousands of feet of lightning waves and silver-gold lightning bolts, accompanied by lightning runes, all rushed into the sky. Only when one saw this scene with their own eyes could they feel the visual impact. It was too terrifying. It was as if the god of thunder was awakening. Boy, what are you trying to do? Do you want to waste time with me? Spirit of space. The spirit of space's voice came out from the void. It was difficult to suppress the fear and dread in its voice. Du Xiaofu didn't say anything. This was a tug-of-war where either one of them would live or die. The dazzling electric arcs around his body continued to spread in all directions, spreading out in all directions. At first, the lightning bolts did not cause much of a stir. However, after an unknown amount of time, the lightning bolts fluctuated in the boundless void. A misty air began to seep out. In the end, it turned into smoke and was devoured by the silver-gold lightning bolts. Chapter 2420. Translator. H2DH2, Mr. Silver-gold arcs of electricity rippled. In this vast void, the silhouette of a huge tree could be vaguely seen. The dazzling arcs of electricity spread out like the canopy, the leaves, the trunk, and the roots of the tree were rooted in this vast void. At this moment, the entire vast void had become a sea of silver-gold arcs of electricity. Rumble. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the void. Winds blew and clouds surged. Soon, there were thunderous booms. Silver-gold arcs of electricity spread across the sky. A terrifying pressure descended. Electricity rippled, and the aura was terrifying. Apart from the dazzling arcs of electricity, there was no day or night in this void. It was as if time had lost its meaning here. Bzzzt. Only the lightning and thunder and the ripples of electricity surrounded Du Xiaofu, who was sitting cross-legged. No one could see that at this moment, within Du Xiaofu's Niwen palace, the red pheasant monkey was sitting with its eyes closed. It seemed to be comprehending something. It was as if all of this had nothing to do with him, and he no longer cared. Kid, what are you trying to do? Kid, let's have a good talk. How about it? Don't go too far. Why don't we both take a step back and I'll let you out? Kid, are you trying to exhaust yourself to death? In the void, the middle-aged spirit of space's voice kept ringing out. However, Du Xiaofu was like an old monk in meditation, and he paid no attention to it at all. Only the blazing glow of lightning continued to suffuse his body, and countless dazzling lightning talisman markings covered the heavens and the earth as they moved through the sky like purplish gold lightning serpents. Misty chi in the void was constantly turned into smoke by the lightning and was then absorbed by the spirit of space. Kid, I'll fight you to the death. Suddenly, the spatial soul in the blood mist space roared, as if it had been forced to the limit. It seemed to have sensed the threat of destruction. Resplendent and crystalline energy flickered as a dazzling symbol rune appeared. The dazzling runes appeared like a spider's web around Du Xiaofu. An ancient and misty aura spread out. Then, they turned into waves of terrifying energy that charged directly at Du Xiaofu. Rumble. Dazzling silver gold lightning exploded, and a large number of dazzling electric arcs rushed out. The aura of a supreme being spread out, wanting to suppress the world and destroy everything, causing the space to rumble endlessly. Chi. After a few hours of stalemate, the ancient and misty aura was directly destroyed by the bright silver gold electric arc. An intense scream came from the mouth of the void. It was like a roar, shaking the entire vast void. Time slowly passed. Unbeknownst to him, the aura within Du Xiaofu's body had begun to rise. His aura rose extremely quickly, especially the aura of his primordial spirit. Boom! Unbeknownst to him, a vast amount of energy of the world seeped into this vast space. Finally, it turned into a terrifying energy vortex and crazily poured into Du Xiaofu's body, who was sitting cross-legged. After several hours, the light of stars began to revolve in the void where lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Dazzling electric arcs filled the air, and dazzling golden lightning runes surged like an ocean, like a rainbow across the sky. Several types of spiritual lightning flashed in the void. Boom! The surrounding space trembled as if it had caused the world to shake. It was soul-shaking. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's body was like a bottomless pit, endlessly absorbing the vast amount of energy in the surrounding space. This continued for a long time before the surging energy of heaven and earth in the vast void began to disperse. Finally, the bright silver-gold electric arcs in the void all disappeared. From between Du Xiaofu's eyebrows, a dazzling white divine light began to ripple. It carried an ancient aura, accompanied by a faint wisp of silver-gold lightning, and then everything gradually calmed down. When everything had completely calmed down, the surroundings returned to normal. And all of this seemed to have gone through a long period of time. It was just that in this strange void where time seemed to have lost its meaning, no one else knew. After a long time, sitting cross-legged, Du Xiaofu's eyelashes trembled slightly. His tightly closed eyes trembled slightly before suddenly opening. Rumble. At this moment, two blazing rays of lightning shot out from Du Xiaofu's eyes and soared into the sky. They seemed to materialize and soared into the sky, surging through the vast sky. His aura gradually calmed down. Du Xiaofu opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of turbid air from his abdomen, shaking the space. When his eyes opened, Du Xiaofu's expression changed to surprise, and then he closed his eyes again. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was the only one who knew what had happened. The formless energy of the primordial spirit was released like a tide, spreading towards the vast and boundless void. The energy of the primordial spirit spread through the vast and boundless misty space. Immediately, the entire space appeared clearly in Du Xiaofu's mind. This space was more than 10 times larger than the original desolate ancient space. Everything in this space appeared clearly in Du Xiaofu's mind. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit could detect every small corner of this space. Familiar and unfamiliar places appeared in Du Xiaofu's mind. There were martial arts techniques, pills, spiritual weapons, practitioner weapons, and various beast energies. With his primordial spirit, Du Xiaofu could now see the inside of the entire space. Du Xiaofu was very clear that this was the entire desolate ancient space. It was also the true complete desolate ancient space. He had succeeded in merging with the soul of space and completely controlled the entire desolate ancient space. At this moment, the complete desolate ancient space was much more powerful than the desolate ancient space that Du Xiaofu had originally controlled. After completely controlling it, Du Xiaofu was very clear that as long as he moved his mind, he could control everything in the desolate ancient space. He could activate all the talisman formations and beast energies that he had comprehended thoroughly. He could even use the beast energies and talisman formations that he had not comprehended. If a powerful enemy was trapped in the barren ancient space, he would be able to immediately control the beast energy in the barren ancient space and use the talisman matrix to suppress and kill the enemy, just like how he was suppressed by the middle-aged space soul. In his own space, the enemy would be suppressed and affected to the greatest extent. His mind could comprehend the secret methods of beast energies and talisman formations at any time. At this moment, all the magical effects appeared in Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit's mind in a very short period of time. Chi. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu, who was sitting cross-legged in the void, opened his eyes again. At the same time, his eyes were dazzling. At the same time, his eyes were full of shock and doubt, as if he had encountered the most terrifying or inconceivable thing. 100 times the time.
Wow.
Du Xiaofu's eyes were full of shock. After he finished observing everything in the desolate ancient space, he found that the time in the desolate ancient space was 100 times that of the outside world. Chapter 24-21. Translator. H2DH2 Mr. Because he had already fused with a small part of the desolate space, the entire desolate space had been completely devoured and fused with by him. He had not simply left a soul imprint in the soul seed of the desolate space. With his mind probing, Du Xiaofu could clearly feel the difference between himself and his previous self. Even the redbone horse monkey's primordial spirit in his Niwen palace had increased by a lot. The surging primordial spirit energy from the redbone horse monkey's primordial spirit made Du Xiaofu feel that the overall battle strength of the primordial spirit had increased by more than a few times after activating the spirit thunder. However, Du Xiaofu could also feel that the primordial spirit in his Niwen palace was showing some signs of loosening. It seemed that the soul of the desolate space had increased too quickly after devouring the soul of the desolate space. The primordial spirit was different from Xian Qi. An excessive increase in the primordial spirit would have a lot of impact on the foundation. He had to properly stabilize the energy of the primordial spirit in the following period of time. Huge improvement. Du Xiaofu felt the changes in his body. He peered inside with his mind and felt that his internal organs, bones, and muscles had become much more tyrannical. His cultivation of the late stage of the sage realm had risen a lot. However, that was all. He didn't feel the existence of the sage accomplished realm. It seemed that it would be very difficult to make further progress after reaching the late stage of the sage realm. Great harvest. After probing everything, Du Xiaofu stood up with satisfaction. He smiled and stretched in the misty space. The joints of his entire body made cracking sounds. A faint, purple-gold light was faintly emitted from the surface of his body. It seemed that every tiny cell of his contained a terrifying energy that could erupt with astonishing power at any time. Boom, boom. The carefree feeling brought about by the explosive increase in his strength accompanied Du Xiaofu's stretching. A mouthful of turbid air followed his throat, shaking the void. There was an indescribable carefree feeling in his body. Clenching his fists, Du Xiaofu felt that the vigorous Xian Qi in his body and the primordial spirit energy in his Niwen palace could be used at any time. They could erupt at any time. He could shatter the void and destroy everything with a raise of his hand. This made Du Xiaofu feel that an ordinary expert of the late stage of Sage Realm would have been pulverized into pieces if his punch had landed on their body at this moment. A smile appeared on Du Xiaofu's face when he felt such progress. This feeling was very good. More importantly, he had obtained the complete desolate space. The desolate space was a world of its own. There were talisman matrices, secret techniques, beasts, and everything else inside. Du Xiaofu still remembered that the desolate space soul seed had said that the desolate space in Tianwu Academy was only a small part of the desolate space. The resources inside were scarce. If he could integrate and control the complete desolate space one day, he would be able to comprehend everything inside. He would be able to activate everything inside the desolate space for his own use. The beasts, secret techniques, and talisman matrices could all be used for his own use. Once a powerful enemy was trapped inside the desolate space, they would be at his mercy. Naturally, he would be able to slowly discover the wonders and mysteries of the desolate space after integrating and controlling the desolate space. At this moment, Du Xiaofu had completely integrated with the desolate space. He had already felt the terror of the desolate space when he had fought with the middle-aged space soul. The purple thunder profound cauldron had fallen into the hands of the devil religion. Now, the desolate space could be regarded as one of his trump cards. Du Xiaofu had already understood everything inside the complete desolate space. There were many supreme beasts, ancient talisman matrices, and everything else inside. If he could comprehend everything inside the desolate space, he would be able to reach a terrifying level, just like what the desolate space soul seed had said. After tidying up, Du Xiaofu waved his hand. From the depths of the void, the purple gold heavenly palace, illusory saber matrix, 9 tribulation sword, and other treasures appeared in his hands. Each of them emitted a bright light. There were also many chinkuan bags. More importantly, within the void, there were 2 figures that appeared at the same time. They were little Xingxing and Lei Yang, who had long been isolated in the desolate space by the middle-aged space soul. After Lei Yang was subdued by the beast control technique, the space soul of the desolate space had already begun to act. It had isolated little Xingxing and Lei Yang. It had been dealing with Du Xiaofu, and had no time to attack Lei Yang and little Xingxing. It had only trapped little Xingxing and Lei Yang in the formation. At this moment, Du Xiaofu had complete control over the desolate space. Little Xingxing and Lei Yang had also immediately escaped. When he decided to take the risk and let the middle-aged space soul integrate with his desolate space, Du Xiaofu had already made preparations. He had moved all the treasures into the desolate space that he had control over to prevent them from being destroyed. In the end, as long as he regained control over the desolate space, he would naturally be able to obtain them. Father, Master. When little Xingxing and Lei Yang saw Du Xiaofu, they heaved a sigh of relief. Du Xiaofu roughly explained the situation to little Xingxing. I didn't expect there to be such an opportunity. Little Xingxing was very happy. It seemed like the complete integration of the desolate space was already worth the trip in this strange desolate space. These treasures weren't ordinary treasures. Du Xiaofu nodded. Then, he waved his hand and sucked the floating purple gold heavenly palace into his hand. He kept them back into his body for nourishment. Luckily, there's no problem. Thank you. Sensing that the purple gold heavenly palace's aura was extremely stable, Du Xiaofu heaved a sigh of relief. The purple gold heavenly palace was still in a deep slumber. Then, Du Xiaofu held the Chinkuan bag left behind by Tianwu Academy. This Chinkuan bag had sensed the existence of the desolate space. Because of this Chinkuan bag, Du Xiaofu had found the desolate space. However, he was still unable to open the Chinkuan bag. Could it be that this Chinkuan bag is hiding an even greater secret? Yes. Du Xiaofu muttered to himself. Originally, he thought that this Chinkuan bag was the catalyst to finding the desolate space. Now, it seemed like it was just a coincidence that the Chinkuan bag found the desolate space on its own. This Chinkuan bag must be hiding another secret. As for what it was, he didn't know. Perhaps one day, he would be able to unravel the mystery by chance. This time, the integration of the desolate space took a lot of time. However, this was within the complete desolate space. Du Xiaofu estimated that it wouldn't take more than 10 days outside. He hoped that there was still time. Worried about the outside world, the 3 of them left the desolate space. When Du Xiaofu, little Xingxing, and Lei Yang walked out of the desolate space, the outside world was already peaceful. Chapter 24-22. The residents of the ancient expert had calmed down, as if everything had been plundered. However, there were still a few scattered experts searching for something in the residence. They seemed to have come too late. Looks like they've all left. Little Xingxing raised his eyebrows. There was nothing left to find. Everything in the residence had been plundered. Du Xiaofu didn't mind too much. To him, the complete ancient desolate space was more important than anything else. He was just curious as to why it would appear here. The three of them broke through the air and disappeared from the residence. Boom! The ancient, desolate, fearsome ground was vast and boundless. Suddenly, a series of earth-shattering sonic booms resounded in the void of the ancient, desolate, fearsome ground. The commotion spread throughout the entire ancient, desolate, fearsome ground. Human tribe, sacred palace. Rumble. The majestic sacred palace shone, and suddenly, it began to rumble and tremble. It was as if the earth was quaking and the mountains were swaying. For a moment, the entire sacred city was trembling, and everyone's expressions changed greatly. It's there. An old figure appeared in the void of the sacred palace. His expression changed, and he disappeared on the spot. Rumble. Rumble. At the same time, the earth and mountains in the Beast Alliance trembled. There's movement in the ancient, desolate, fearsome ground again. Is there really going to be a change this time? Rumble. An ancient figure appeared in the stone chamber, his eyes rippling with the void. The mountain range lacked the murderous aura and deathly stillness that was commonly seen in the ancient, desolate, fearsome ground. Instead, it was filled with a holy aura. The verdant mountain peaks were terrifyingly rich in heaven and earth energy. The heaven and earth energy in the entire space was so rich that it seemed to have turned into air currents that constantly turned into mist. On the mountain peak, a graceful figure sat cross-legged. With her as the center, the rich heaven and earth energy swept out. The terrifying heaven and earth energy formed a storm in the air, and a rich green life force fluctuated. On the mountain peak next to her, there were many figures standing. Their gazes were fixed on the tall figure, and their eyes were filled with nervousness and shock. It's already the fourth day. I hope I can successfully break through. Qi Yeshi stood there, her beautiful eyes fixed on the graceful figure on the mountain peak in front of her. Sister Qingqing is really terrifying. A crisp voice came out from the mouth of a moving woman. Her figure was exquisite, and the accessories on her wrist made a crisp sound. She was dressed in a long brocade dress, and her lower body was wrapped in a moving charm. There was a hint of charm in her cuteness. It was Sima Muhan. Walala. On the mountain peak, the graceful and beautiful figure was seated with her legs crossed. Her entire body was enveloped in a rich green glow. Her long black hair was suffused with radiance, while her alluring face was sparkling like jade and her skin was like snow. Amidst the resplendent, mysterious symbols, the aura within her alluring body continued to rise. As time passed, the dazzling radiance on the mountain peak shone in all directions. Life was flourishing in all directions. Rich energy permeated the air, rippling like mist. Green light spread and dazzled. Above the surrounding space, there was a wave of vast and boundless energy of the world. At this moment, it was like a whirlpool that was pouring into the body of the alluring woman. This woman was Dongli Qingqing. At this moment, her graceful figure was like a bottomless pit that was devouring the energy of the world. There was a green mist that was like a dense divine radiance, and it flowed in and out along with the multicolored light. The surface of her body was filled with divine radiance, and her entire body was filled with an extremely vigorous life force. As Dongli Qingqing's aura continued to rise, it gradually caused the surrounding space to distort, causing ripples to undulate. Boom, boom. At a certain moment, Dongli Qingqing's aura finally reached a peak. After a short pause, it suddenly trembled, as if she had crossed a huge bottleneck. Wind and thunder roared, and her aura surged to the heavens. At this moment, from Dongli Qingqing's alluring body, there were resplendent green symbols that soared into the sky at the same time. It was like a green sun, dazzling and gorgeous. With a dense, multicolored light, its might was vast, and its aura surged in all directions. Under this sudden movement, Chi Yeshi, Sima Muhan, and many other people's gazes were immediately fixed on the mountain peak in front of them. At this moment, above the mountain peak, there was a kind of green radiance that was filled with a divine aura that covered the sky and the sun. The surrounding energy of the world was unceasingly pouring in, converging from all directions and pouring into Dongli Qingqing's body. At this moment, Dongli Qingqing's aura was still rising. In that rising aura, there was also a kind of ancient power that was awakening. Her life force was surging, and it was vast and surging. This is too scary. She has reached the middle stage of the sage realm. Wow. A woman in a dark purple dress couldn't help but be shocked. Her skin was as white as snow, and her eyes were clear and flowing with multicolored light. She was exceptionally enchanting and seductive. Her beauty was soul-stirring. She was the schoolmaster of the Hahuan school, Sumushin. The huge pit was so deep that the bottom couldn't be seen. Buzz, a passage led to the depths of the ground, and an ancient aura filled the air. Occasionally, there would be flashes of lightning, and resplendent electric arcs fluctuated. Occasionally, there would be loud rumbling sounds like thunder. Rumble. The space rumbled, and such a vast movement seemed to have caused a strange phenomenon. Ferocious thunder sounded out of nowhere. Then, the entire bottomless pit changed color in an instant. Thick, dark clouds surged in the vast void outside, covering the sky and covering the sun. Whoosh! Rumble. In an instant, thick, dark clouds covered the space, and lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. At this moment, the space suddenly turned dark. It was as if this ancient world had suddenly sunk into darkness. In the world, an invisible energy wave fluctuated, and the ground shook. In the whole world, stormy waves appeared on the surface of the rivers, and the mountains and rivers trembled. Rumble. Rumble. Suddenly, in the deep pit, a resplendent thunderbolt shot up to the sky with a majestic and mighty thunder energy, and it resonated with the lightning flashing and thunder rumbling in the thick, dark clouds above. At this moment, in the thick, dark clouds, amidst the lightning flashing and thunder rumbling, amazing energy poured into the sky. Countless dazzling thunderbolts appeared in the surroundings, and pitch-black space cracks filled the void, making people's souls tremble. Master, I did it. After a moment, the shocking commotion finally calmed down. A young voice came from the depths of the void and echoed in the air. Master, I found it. Everyone went to the front. It's said that there was an amazing movement not long ago. That's the deepest part of the heaven burial wasteland. Everyone is rushing there now. Master. A thin figure landed on a brown boulder. It was Lei Yong. The deepest part of the heaven burial wasteland. Master. Du Xiaofu's eyes trembled. Along the way, he found that there were fewer and fewer living beings. It turned out that there was movement in the deepest part of the heaven burial wasteland. Chapter 24-23. That's right. Little Xingxing looked at Du Xiaofu and said, It is said that the main battlefield of the Dragon Phoenix Tribulation was inside the burial heaven deathland. At that time, almost all the top experts of the world had fallen inside. Therefore, the burial heaven deathland also left behind endless dangers and opportunities. It seems that there is also the blood essence of the true dragon and true phoenix. That is the most dangerous place in the ancient desolate deathland. It is said that even sage realm cultivators would not be able to get out if they were trapped inside. Pausing for a moment, little Xingxing looked at Du Xiaofu and said, Father, if there is great danger, there will naturally be great opportunities. It is not too strange for those immemorial sacred artifacts to appear inside. I am also not interested in the blood essence of the true dragon and true phoenix, but I do want to know. It is said that the burial heaven deathland hides the greatest secret of the world. I don't know if it is true. Misfortune and fortune coexist. Du Xiaofu knew very well that the immemorial sacred artifacts, the blood essence of the true dragon and true phoenix. With these treasures, it was likely that all creatures would fearlessly rush in and risk their lives. Du Xiaofu did not find it strange that little Xingxing was not interested in the blood essence of the true dragon and true phoenix. With little Xingxing's identity, Her own blood was probably much stronger than the blood essence of the true dragon and true phoenix. Little Xingxing looked at Du Xiaofu and continued, I don't know what the greatest secret is. It would be great if there is some kind of peerless treasure. Du Xiaofu smiled. He had also heard about the burial heaven deathland long ago. This greatest secret could not be said for sure. The greatest secret of the burial heaven deathland has never been known by anyone. It is said that there were experts who had entered before, but no one discovered anything. After all the experts who had entered came out, they did not utter a single word about the depths of the burial heaven deathland. It is said that the depths of the burial heaven deathland is a land of death that can bury any creature in the world. Whether this is true or false is unknown. However, the blood essence of the true dragon and true phoenix and the inheritance of the immemorial experts do exist. Lei Yang said, It seems that the depths of the burial heaven deathland is not simple. Du Xiaofu smiled. No matter what, he had to make a trip to such a perilous place. With great danger, there would naturally be great opportunities. Otherwise, the experts of the human clan and the Beast Alliance would not flock here. It would be even better if he could obtain some opportunities there. There was a commotion in the depths of the heaven burial wasteland. When the time came, no one would miss it. Du Xiaofu reckoned that he would be able to meet the people from the desolate country. No matter what, he had to go. Du Xiaofu's eyes flickered as he asked Lei Yang, What's happening in the depths of the heaven burial wasteland? Can the top experts of the human race and the Beast Alliance enter? Of course. I'm afraid that the patriarchs of the human clans and the various clans of the Beast Alliance will also enter. Lei Yang spoke. With his status, he knew a lot of things. He was familiar with many of the great clans and great beast clans' ancestors. Is that so? Du Xiaofu's eyes narrowed slightly, but then the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. He knew in his heart that not only did he have the 7 saint puppets and Lei Yang, but he had also improved a lot. The complete desolate ancient space was also one of his trump cards. Even if he encountered the blood-malevolent ancestor again, he now had the absolute capital to face him head-on. He did not have to worry too much anymore. And there was also little Xingxing. When the time came, Du Xiaoyao and the others would be enough to make all sides wary. Thinking of this, Du Xiaofu was not too worried. There was no need to hide anything anymore. It was no longer the same as before. Let's go to the heaven burial wasteland first. Maybe Lady Zixuan, Lady Yi Shi, and Du Xiaoyao have already arrived there. Little Xingxing said to Du Xiaofu. All right. Du Xiaofu nodded. In the heaven burial wasteland, Du Xiaofu did not care about legalism, famous scholars, and the others. There was also no need to be afraid of the people of devil religion. However, Du Xiaofu had to pay attention to the dangers of the heaven burial wasteland. There were also many top experts of the Beast Alliance and the human race here. Du Xiaofu had never been an arrogant person. Let's set off early. Maybe there are already people in the heaven burial wasteland. We can't be bullied at that time. Little Xingxing said, rubbing his palms and pouting his little mouth. At this moment, his cultivation of late Saint Beast realm gave him a lot more confidence. Du Xiaofu nodded and then left with Lei Yang and little Xingxing, heading towards the depths of the heaven burial wasteland. In the boundless dark plain, the vast sky of the heaven burial wasteland was gray like nothingness. It was as if this was the end of the world. A huge spatial hole had appeared in the peaceful dark plain. It was like a spatial black hole. The spatial ripples in the hole rotated like a huge tornado, as if it was going to devour the space. An ancient and everlasting aura spread out between the heavens and the earth. Under this majestic aura, any cultivator below the domain realm did not even have the qualifications to get close. They simply could not get close to it. Crash, crash. The dark and vast plain was like a tsunami. The dark mist of nothingness seemed to have been surging for countless years. Huge spatial ripples that were hundreds of meters high surged and surged. In the distance, many figures landed on a hill. Xiao Yao was among them. He was an expert of the Overlord Python clan. Looking at the astonishing movement in the distant plain, the experts of the Overlord Python clan were shocked. It was as if a huge, ancient, ferocious beast had awakened and was going to devour the space. This is the first time there has been such a movement in the depths of the heaven burial wasteland. What's going on? An old woman of the Overlord Python clan was surprised. Just the terrifying murderous aura that spread out from the plain ahead was enough to make her heart palpitate. The heaven burial wasteland is very abnormal this time. Is the rumor true? The world's biggest secret is buried here. Xiao Yao's bright eyes flashed with some doubts. The clan's divine ancestor said that we must be extremely careful. An old man's eyes were solemn. He did not have the slightest carelessness. This was the divine ancestor's special instruction. Above the dark plain, spatial ripples swept and whistled like ocean waves. A large expanse of the vast void had long been submerged in them. The mountain range tens of thousands of miles away was also submerged in the ripples. The mountain peak reached the sky. The turbulent spatial ripples accompanied by the terrifying murderous aura swept over wave after wave, as if to destroy everything. What's going on with the heaven burial wasteland? Is it really the world's biggest secret? Many figures stood on the mountain peak. There were several figures in the lead, led by Moksha, Jalo Jueju, and Imo Lingzi. The demon god said that the heaven burial wasteland is extraordinary. Moksha's eyes slightly raised. There seemed to be a smile on his face at all times. I've been here for so long. I want to know if the world's biggest secret is in this wasteland. Jalo Jueju said. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The sound of wind breaking resounded in the air. Many figures appeared with waves of majestic pressure. The first one was a charming woman. She had a face that could topple countries. She looked like she was only in her 20s. The curve of her body was natural and seductive. Her pitch-black eyes were as clear as a stream, with a faint green and red color. The woman landed on the mountain peak. Her eyes were like water as she looked ahead. If Du Xiaofu and little Xingxing were here at this moment, they would definitely be shocked. This woman was none other than Du Xiaoqing. At this moment, behind Du Xiaoqing, there were familiar figures such as Jiao Jiao, Jiao Jiao, and Jiao Jiao. You ancestor, it seems like the people of the Gulen Heavenly Condor clan are here too. Beside the charming woman was an old woman. Her face was old, but her eyes were very bright. There was a faint green and red light in her eyes. She looked at the space not far ahead. The calm space ripples in the air suddenly began to shake. Then, many figures appeared out of thin air in the sky. Each of them carried a shocking aura. Vaguely, there was a vigorous pressure spreading out. When these figures appeared, their eyes also instantly focused on this direction. Among the people who came, many of them had powerful auras. There was a tall man who stood out. He had a handsome face, a nose like an eagle's hook, and prominent facial features. He wore a tight long robe with a bronze cloak on his shoulders. He looked slender and tall. There was a proud aura in this man's body. If Du Xiaofu were here at this moment, he would definitely recognize this man as Zhan Lan of the Gulen Heavenly Condor clan. Back then, he had cheated this guy of his Saint Elixir. Beside Zhan Lan, there was an old man in yellow clothes. His eyes were fierce and sharp. It seemed that when he looked at people, they would feel like their hearts were being crushed by a huge rock. So, the Bai Fong Divine Bird clan is here. The old man in yellow clothes of the Gulen Heavenly Condor clan looked at Du Xiaoqing and the old woman and said, Ling Diao, your Gulen Heavenly Condor clan is not late.
Yes.
The old woman said faintly. Her aura was faintly discernible. If one looked carefully, one would find that the space around her was isolated by a layer of faint green and red flames. The Gulen Heavenly Condor clan will take advantage of any benefits. Of course, they will come early. The space ripples in front of them flashed again. The voice penetrated the space and came. As the voice faded, many more figures appeared out of thin air. Boom, boom. As these figures landed, the aura in the air suddenly dropped rapidly. It was as if the air was about to freeze. The space ripples brought with them a faint frost mist. Shinku, if you have the ability, don't come. This time, the Black Ice Heavenly Turtle clan will not let go of such a big commotion in the burial dead ground. Ling Jiao looked at the newcomers with a dark gaze. It seemed that the two clans had always been at odds with each other. Of course, we won't let your Gulen Heavenly Condor clan get all the benefits. However, I don't know if your Gulen Heavenly Condor clan has the strength to do so. The one who spoke was a gray-robed old man from the Black Ice Heavenly Turtle clan. Beside him stood a young man. It was Shin Tuesday. Chapter 24:24. The gray-robed elder was around 70 years old. He had a rough build, and the wrinkles on his forehead seemed to be covered in frost. He smiled at Ling Diao and was not too polite to him. With his status in the Ice Turtle clan, he naturally had the right to not be too polite to Ling Diao. Beside the gray-robed elder, Shin Tu's eyes were like stars. He exuded an air of arrogance and extraordinary temperament. His gaze fell on Du Shaoqing, Zhao Xie, Qi Yin, Zhan Lan, and the others of the younger generation. Ling Diao, Xin Ku, what's the point of you two old fellows bickering? Why don't you just fight? Let me see how strong you have become over the years. Ha ha. Ha ha. At the same time, a hearty laugh rang out. As the voice fell, the mysterious runes on the talisman in the void fluctuated. Accompanied by a flash of spatial ripples, many more figures descended, each with a vigorous aura. The one who spoke was an old man with a head full of black hair. His eyes were like the sun. Hu Qing. Haha. When they saw this old man, Ling Diao and Xian Ke's eyes flickered. This was a terrifying figure of the dark, heavenly tiger clan. Beside Hu Qing was Hu Pao, and there was also a black-robed youth. His deep eyes were pure black, and he exuded an awe-inspiring aura of a king. Little Qing. Haha. When he saw Du Shaoqing, the black-robed youth's eyes lit up with joy. He immediately flew towards the Bai Fong Divine Bird clan. Little tiger, you're here too? Haha. Du Shaoqing was delighted, and a smile appeared on her face. Who else could this black-robed youth be but Little Tiger? Looks like we've all improved. Haha. When Little Tiger arrived beside Du Shaoqing, he looked at Du Shaoqing and felt the faint aura emanating from her beautiful figure. The corners of his mouth curled into a smile. He was very happy. You've improved a lot too. Du Shaoqing smiled and asked, Is there any news of brother? Not yet, but I heard that not long ago, third young master, Little Xingxing, and Du Xiaoyao fought with Ancestor Blood Deer. It seems that third young master and the others have improved even more. Little Tiger Du said. He had improved a lot in the dark heavenly tiger clan. Whoosh whoosh. Powerful figures continued to descend from all directions. The roaring sky demonic lion, 8 desolation demonic dragon, distant sky flame phoenix, and other powerful beasts arrived and greeted the experts of the Beast Alliance. The humans are here too. Qi Yin looked to the side where many silhouettes had appeared. They were all human experts. The Sun Clan, the Jiang Clan, and the Ji Clan. The first clan came rather quickly, said the old woman from the Bai Fong Divine Bird clan. There was a faint green and red light in her eyes. Everyone, most of the people from the Beast Alliance are here. In the distant sky, the human race had gathered, and many powerful auras were faintly spreading out. As someone's voice fell, many people raised their eyes and immediately looked at the sky in front of them. The powerhouses of the human race also lifted their gazes and looked over. The human race had always been wary of the Beast Alliance. Whoosh whoosh, whoosh. Not far away in the sky, spatial ripples appeared. At the spatial ripples entrance, figures appeared one after another, and a terrifying bloody aura swept out like a storm. Roar, roar. There was a sound like a dragon's roar. The figure in the lead had a head of blood-red hair that looked like flowing blood, and a bright light that looked like flowing blood-red flames. This figure was very strange. Behind the human figure was a pair of blood-red flesh wings. In the bloody light, there were waves of divine light and mysterious runes. This figure was too powerful. His eyes emitted a bloody light, like a surging sea of blood, vast and unparalleled. At this moment, there was a thin figure beside this figure. He looked gloomy, with a red head and rat eyes, but his aura was not much weaker than the former. It's Patriarch Bloodmane. He is leading the team personally. Roar. Patriarch Bloodmane is here in person. Roar. Patriarch Bloodmane of the Ro Owl clan. This guy is still alive. Roar. And Patriarch Ming Xie, the sworn brother of Patriarch Bloodmane. That guy is here too. That's right. Patriarch Ming Xie, This terrifying guy is as famous as Lei Yong. That's right. Rumor has it that Patriarch Bloodmane was scared away by Du Xiaofu and the others. This time, he must have come prepared and called Patriarch Ming Xie. That's right. As the mighty bloody aura fluctuated, the whole place was shocked. Many experts at the scene were shocked. Some were fearful, and some were in awe. After Patriarch Bloodmane appeared, he swept his gaze across the surroundings and looked at the vast void in front of him that was filled with a murderous aura. Whoosh whoosh. In the surrounding void, living experts were constantly coming. It was no longer a secret that there was movement in the depths of the sky burial wasteland. Those who were able to survive to come here were constantly rushing over. A group of figures appeared. There were many experts, but many of the figures at the front were charming and graceful. When they saw these figures, Du Xiaoqing and Little Tiger were stunned for a moment. Then, they were overjoyed and immediately flew up into the sky. Sister-in-law.
Sister-in-law.
Du Xiaohuang, Du Xiaoba, why are you two here too?
Sister-in-law.
Sister Kailing.
Sister-in-law.
With a few flashes, Du Xiaoqing and Du Xiaohu appeared beside the group of people who had just arrived. They excitedly and happily pounced over. Grandma Mo Luo, Brother Qingchun, Godfather, Sister Xiaojing, Xingyu, Yi Piaoling, Qinggu Yu. Du Xiaoqing is so happy that everyone is here. At this moment, there were many people in this group. There were the Mo family, the Golden-Winged Rock Clan, Dongli Qingqing, Dongli Ruashu, Dongli Ruayun, and others. There was also Du Tingxian, Jin Qingchun, Du Xiaojing, Du Xiaohuang, Du Xiaoba, Yi Piaoling, and others from the desolate country. Little Green, Little Tiger.
Sister-in-law.
When they saw Du Xiaoqing and Little Tiger, everyone was very happy. They had heard about the encounters and opportunities of Little Green and Little Tiger and were happy for them. Why are you all here? That's great. Du Xiaoqing was so happy that she didn't expect to meet everyone. Almost everyone she knew was here, and they were all safe and sound. This was the happiest thing. We met on the way here, so we came together. Little Green. Ouyang Shuang said to Du Xiaoqing. She felt the aura fluctuating from Du Xiaoqing's body and was secretly shocked. She still remembered how this little girl looked like when they were in the dark forest. It hadn't been long, but this little girl had already reached this stage. Far away in the Beast Alliance and the human race's lineup, Xiaohu and Du Xiaoqing seemed to be rather familiar with that group of people. This caused many people's gazes to fluctuate, and some of them had complicated expressions on their faces. Are those people from the outside world? Are they related to the Rock Emperor, Du Xiaofu? They seem to be very powerful. They seem to have an extraordinary aura. What is it like in the outside world to have so many extraordinary young people? Be it the human clan or the Beast Alliance, everyone's gaze fell on Du Tingxian, Du Xiaojing, Ouyang Shuang, Dongli Qingqing, and the others. It was very complicated. Swish, swish, once again. Figures tore through the void and appeared. They were dazzling, and their auras were vast and surging in the sky. There weren't many of these figures, but their auras were quite extraordinary. When these figures appeared, they scanned the surroundings. When their gazes fell on the desolate country's lineup, their gazes instantly turned ugly. These figures were none other than Yusu from the Demon Vulture race, Shiyu from the Sky Serpent race, Lion Hongtu from the Fire Demon Lion race, Su Sanyan from the School of Vertical and Horizontal, Hui Wu from the School of Famous, Long Qianchao from the Dragons, and a few people from the Legalism. Elder Ming was among them, and there was also a middle-aged man with unkempt hair and a dirty face. He was holding a wine jug and wearing a dark robe that hadn't been washed for a long time. The appearance of these figures attracted the attention of the desolate country's lineup. Seeing Elder Ming and the unkempt middle-aged man, Du Xiaojing's eyes rippled. Miss Xiaojing. Greetings. When Elder Ming saw Du Xiaojing, he sent a voice transmission to Du Xiaojing and bowed. Second uncle, Elder Ming. Greetings. Du Xiaojing raised his eyes and nodded. His expression immediately became calm, and he also sent a voice transmission. Greetings. Beside Elder Ming, there was a young man who looked to be in his 30s. They had entered the ancient, desolate, fearsome ground together. However, his face was no longer pale, and there was a hint of redness. However, his gaze was cold as he looked at the figures in the desolate country's lineup from afar. When he saw Du Tingxian and the others, cold hatred gushed out from his eyes. It's the dragons and the people from the legalism. Attack!
Attack!
A cold light immediately gushed out from the little tiger's deep, pitch-black eyes. Now that his strength had greatly increased, he naturally did not need to be polite when he saw the people from the dragons, the people from the legalism and the School of Famous. School of Famous.
Attack!
Dongli Qingqing looked at the people from the School of Famous, and a cold light gushed out from her beautiful eyes. Hee. Attack. Huh. Du Xiaohuang wanted the world to be in chaos. Coupled with her current cultivation, she did not take Long Qianqiao and the others seriously. How dare you come here again? It's our turn now. Huh. Du Xiaoqing's gaze darkened. At this moment, regardless of whether it was her cultivation or her status in the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan, she was absolutely qualified to fight Long Qianqiao, Su Sanyan, and the others. Yi Piaoling and Qinggu Yu's bodies rippled with killing intent. They were like sharp swords that had been unsheathed, ready to attack at any time. Oh no, when they saw that there was a group of terrifying people from the desolate country present, Long Qianqiao, Su Sanyan, and the others already had ugly expressions. When they saw that little tiger, Du Xiaoqing and the others were obviously looking at them with ill intentions. Their expressions changed greatly. They've all reached the Saint Realm. Long Qianqiao, Su Sanyan, Hui Wu, and the others were also at the Saint Realm. At this moment, even if they could sense the aura of Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, Du Tingxian, and Yi Piaoling from afar, they could clearly tell that this group of terrifying young people had all reached the Saint Realm. Although they had also obtained many opportunities in this fearsome land, their talents were limited. Although their strength had increased by a lot, there was not much of a substantial improvement. Their opponents also had the advantage in numbers. If they really fought, it seemed that they would not be able to gain any advantage. Hee, you've worn out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find it without any effort. This time, you won't be able to escape even if you have wings. Right at this moment, a sinister and cold laughter spread out, reverberating through the void and resounding mightily. Chapter 24-25. As the voice fell, a blood-red light gushed out, covering the void. A figure traversed the void, his eyes emitting blood-red light like a surging sea of blood. Blood Deer Patriarch, it's him. When this figure appeared, the eyes of all the living beings present trembled. Almost everyone knew of the grudge between old ancestor Shuiro and the desolate country's Du Xiaofu. Right now, this was someone from the desolate country, and it seemed that old ancestor Shuiro was about to make a move. In an instant, the whole place was in an uproar. Everyone's eyes were fixed on each other. Some had complicated expressions, while others had fluctuations in their eyes. The happiest people present were undoubtedly Long Qianqiao, Su Sanyan, and the others. Their faces were ugly, afraid that Du Xiaojing, Du Tingxian, Du Xiaohuang, and the others would attack them. Long Qianqiao, Su Sanyan, Hui Wu, Shi Hongtu, and the others immediately revealed looks of joy when they sensed the terrifying blood qi from the blood deer ancestor's body. They knew that he was a late-stage sacred beast, and that he was about to attack the people of the desolate country. Du Xiaofu, that little bastard, is a disaster wherever he goes. Naturally, someone will take care of him. The middle-aged man from Legalism's group had a gloomy expression and a cold smile. The people of the desolate country looked up. Du Tingxian, Du Xiaojing, Zhen Qingchun, and Yi Piaoling's eyes narrowed. They knew the identity of Blood Deer Patriarch. Back then, this Blood Deer Patriarch had fled in a sorry state. But now, Du Xiaofu, Little Xingxing, and Du Xiaoyao were not here. The strongest person present was only Du Xiaojing, and he was not enough to stop Blood Deer Patriarch. Who is this old bastard? Du Xiaoqing looked up, her faint green and red eyes sweeping over Blood Deer Patriarch, but she did not pay much attention to him. With her current status in the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan, there was no need for her to fear any of the beast clans here. Blood Deer Patriarch of the Ro Owl clan once bullied me and Little Huang. In the end, he was chased away by Uncle Xiaofu, Little Xing Xing and Uncle Little Yao, Du Xiaoba said. Du Xiaoba said. Facing blood-mane patriarch, they were also afraid. Du Xiaoyao and Little Xing Xing weren't here right now. Turns out it's blood-mane from the Roal clan. Old bastard, you dare to hurt my young master? Do you want to die? The little tiger's temper wasn't good after hearing Du Xiaoba's words. Although he had heard of the blood-malevolent ancestor, he was absolutely fearful of the terrifying blood-malevolent Qi. However, he was completely fearless. The Dark Heavenly Tiger clan was above the Roe Deer clan. When the blood-malevolent patriarch saw that the Rock Emperor, the Strange Dragon, and the Redbone Horse Monkey weren't present, he was filled with confidence and wanted to deal with the Desolate Countries group to avenge his blood feud. However, when he appeared, the Desolate Countries investors didn't panic or fear like he had imagined. At first, a little girl didn't care who this old bastard was, but then she was scolded by a young man. He was the blood-malevolent patriarch, one of the top experts in the Beast Alliance. When had he ever been looked down upon like this? Even the ancestors of the Baifeng Divine Birds, Dark Heavenly Tigers, and distant Sky Flame Phoenix clans wouldn't dare to speak to him like this. However, the blood-malevolent patriarch had seen it with his own eyes. The little girl and the black-robed young man were from the Baifeng Divine Birds and the Dark Heavenly Tigers. They seemed to be related to the Desolate Country. Although he was extremely furious, he couldn't help but be a little fearful. After all, the Dark Heavenly Tigers and the Baifeng Divine Birds were present. You are related to the Desolate Country? The blood-malevolent patriarch stared at Du Xiaoqing and Little Tiger with a gloomy expression. You better not provoke the Desolate Country. Otherwise, I won't be polite to your Roal clan. Du Xiaoqing looked straight at the blood-malevolent patriarch. With her current status in the Baifeng Divine Birds, her words were definitely not just a threat. Old bastard, you better not provoke the Desolate Country. Although Little Tiger had a bad temper, he was not a reckless person. Although there were experts from the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan present, they could feel the aura from the blood-malevolent patriarch and knew that the experts from the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan present did not have the confidence to deal with the blood-malevolent patriarch. Ha 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 ha. The blood-malevolent patriarch laughed out loud. His laughter shook the sky, and the blood-malevolent aura fluctuated. Everyone could hear the coldness in his laughter. When the laughter stopped, the blood-malevolent patriarch looked straight at the old lady and Hu Qing from the Baifeng Divine Birds and Dark Heavenly Tigers. He said, Qi Su, Hu Qing, the younger generation of the Baifeng Divine Birds and Dark Heavenly Tigers, have you reached the stage where you don't put the blood-malevolent patriarch in your eyes? Blood-malevolent. She is Lord Qi Lan's younger sister and the little ancestor of the Baifeng Divine Birds. The old lady looked at the blood-malevolent patriarch and said, her voice wasn't loud, but it was mixed with profound qi and resounded through the void. Lord Qi Lan's younger sister. When these words spread, everyone in the void was dumbfounded. The top experts from the various beast clans and human clans in the Beast Alliance suddenly looked at Du Xiaoqing. Some of the younger generation might not know who Qi Lan was, but all the top experts of the major powers and families knew who he was. He was the most powerful expert of the Baifeng Divine Bird tribe. Not long ago, it was rumored that he had come to the Holy Palace of the human tribe and fought with the ancient emperor of the Holy Palace. That was Lord Qi Lan. If someone were to ask who the strongest person in the Beast Alliance was, all the experts in the Beast Alliance would say that it was Lord Qi Lan. He was a legendary expert. It was because of this legendary expert that the Beast Alliance was able to suppress the human clan all these years. Upon hearing Qi Su's words, the blood-malevolent patriarch's face secretly twitched. Although he was afraid of the Baifeng Divine Birds, he naturally didn't care about a junior of the Baifeng Divine Birds. Moreover, he wouldn't even care about Qi Su. However, Qi Lan was a huge mountain to the blood-malevolent patriarch. This little girl was actually Qi Lan's younger sister. Although he didn't know what was going on and had never heard that Qi Lan had a younger sister, the blood-malevolent patriarch couldn't help but be afraid of Qi Lan's younger sister. Blood-malevolent patriarch, he's not a junior of the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan. He's the successor of the Tiger Desolate ancestor, Hu Qing said to the blood-malevolent patriarch. His voice was also vast and mighty in the void. Gulp. When these words spread out, everyone who was already shocked immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. The successor of Lord Tiger Desolate. Heavens! Suddenly, there was an uproar in the Beast Alliance. Everyone's eyes were trembling. Tiger Desolate was a legendary expert of the dark, heavenly Tiger clan. His seniority was even higher than Chilan's. It was rumored that Tiger Desolate had fallen long ago. No one expected that he had left behind a successor. As the successor of Lord Tiger Desolate, this identity was definitely extremely high in the dark, heavenly Tiger clan. The blood-malevolent patriarch's face kept twitching. These two juniors, one was Chilan's younger sister, and the other was the successor of the dark, heavenly Tiger clan's legendary expert, Tiger Desolate. Their identities were important in both the Baifeng Divine Birds clan and the dark, heavenly Tiger clan. If ordinary juniors of the Baifeng Divine Birds clan and the dark, heavenly Tiger clan provoked him, he would absolutely be fine even if he killed them. However, he really didn't dare to kill the two juniors in front of him. Wow, Sister Shaoqing and Little Tiger's identities are so high. Du Shaoqing was pleasantly surprised. Looking at the expressions of the experts who were watching from afar, she also knew that Du Shaoqing and Little Tiger's identities in the Baifeng Divine Birds clan and the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan were not trivial. The Baifeng Divine Birds clan and the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan are related to the desolate country from the outside world. The blood-malevolent patriarch's face was gloomy as he looked at Qi Su and Hu Qing. That's not related. Qi Su and Hu Qing shook their heads. Then, Qi Su continued, however, if anyone dares to touch the little ancestor of the Baifeng Divine Birds clan, we will not be polite. The same goes for the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan, Hu Qing said indifferently. What do you mean? Do the Baifeng Divine Birds clan and the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan really think that I, the blood-malevolent patriarch, do not exist? If you want to protect those humans today, don't forget the existence of the Beast Alliance. The Baifeng Divine Birds clan and the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan are blatantly protecting those humans. The blood-malevolent patriarch stared at Qi Su and Hu Qing with bloody eyes. They were clearly threatening him. The Beast Alliance does not belong to the Baifeng Divine Birds clan and the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan. Anyway, they are humans from the outside world who have killed many experts of the Beast Alliance. Today is a good time to kill them. Kill these humans from the outside world. As the blood-malevolent patriarch's voice fell, many voices came from the Beast Alliance, especially from the distant Skyflame Phoenix clan, the 8 Desolation Demon Dragon clan, and the Gulen Heavenly Condor clan. They had an irreconcilable feud with Du Xiaofu, so they naturally would not let go of such an opportunity. Looking around, Qi Su, Hu Qing, and the others were slightly solemn. Humph. These people from the desolate country are doomed today. No one can protect them. Humph. The blood-malevolent patriarch said coldly. This was the best opportunity to strike, and he must not miss it. Even Chilan's sister and the successor of the Tiger Wilderness could not stop him. As long as he did not kill the two of them, he could do anything. How dare you? Du Shaoqing's eyes darkened, but at this moment, she saw that many people from the Beast Alliance seemed to have the intention of walking together with the blood-malevolent patriarch. Once they fought, even if the Baifeng Divine Birds clan and the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan intervened, the people from the desolate country would be at a disadvantage. The blood-malevolent patriarch looked at Du Shaoqing, his blood-red eyes rippling with coldness, and said, "Little girl, I'm afraid you are not enough. Old man, old thing, I'm not afraid of you. Sooner or later, I will destroy you." Old man. Little Tiger looked directly at the blood-malevolent patriarch. He had seen all kinds of people. Although the blood-malevolent patriarch's aura was terrifying, it was not enough to scare him. However, Little Tiger's pitch-black eyes were secretly solemn. The blood-malevolent patriarch's aura was much stronger than Hu Qing and the few experts from the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan. A little arrogant, but it's not enough. You are far from enough. Today, these people from the desolate country are doomed. If you dare to stop me, then don't blame me for being impolite. The blood-malevolent patriarch said boldly. His voice was like a rolling sea of blood, causing the living beings in the surroundings to tremble for no reason and feel uneasy. Brother blood-malevolent patriarch, There's no need to say more. Destroy. Chapter 24-26. As these words fell, the thin figure who had been following Shui Meng crossed the void and spoke coldly. He then took a step forward and stood beside Shui Meng. Ancestor Ming Xie. Ming Xie. Looking at this thin figure, many gazes trembled for no reason. Even Hu Qing, Qi Su, and the others narrowed their eyes. This Ming Xie was no ordinary expert. He was the sworn brother of Ancestor Shui Meng, and his strength was probably not below Lei Yang's. Ancestor Shui Meng alone was already difficult to deal with. Feeling the aura on Ming Xie's body, Du Xiaohuang, Little Tiger, and Du Xiaoqing's expressions turned serious. Once they fought, the desolate country would definitely not have the upper hand and would be at a disadvantage. Moreover, this place was filled with people from the Beast Alliance. Although there were humans present, Du Xiaohuang, Du Tingxian, and the others knew that once they fought, the humans would not help them. On the contrary, many human experts would probably hit them when they were down. Du Xiaofu also had many enemies in the human race. Ancestor Shui Meng was already difficult to deal with, and now Ming Xie had joined the fray. Du Xiaoqing and Little Tiger also became serious. The experts from the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan and the Dark Heavenly Tiger Clan were not enough to deal with Ancestor Shui Meng and Ming Xie. Once those two terrifying fellows attacked with all their might, the desolate country's people would not be able to contend against them. Do you think the desolate country's people can be destroyed as you wish? With your late-stage saint cultivation, I'm afraid you'll have to pay the price in blood. Ming Xie. As soon as those words were spoken, a beautiful silhouette appeared and stood there quietly. Her green robe fluttered in the wind, and her long black hair flowed behind her head. She was as otherworldly as an immortal and as proud as the world. This was Du Xiaojing. Although she had appeared without a sound, it was as if there was an invisible light that would not be drowned out. This woman looks very similar to the Rock Emperor. Ming Xie. She's Du Xiaojing. Rumor has it that she's Du Xiaofu's sister. When the otherworldly woman floated in the air and looked at her beautiful face, whispers of surprise immediately sounded from the surrounding living beings. Anyone who touches my Huang country will have to pay the price. As soon as Du Tingxian finished speaking, he stepped into the air. Boom, boom. Then, the void rippled again as more figures stepped out. Jin Xingchun, Yi Piaoling, Chang Guyu, Elder Lei, Dai Xingyu, Ouyang Shuang, and Su Muxin stood in the air. Dongli Qingqing, Dongli Ruoshu, Jialo Jueyu, Jialo Mola, and Sima Muhan followed closely behind. The experts from the School of Moism, School of Agriculture, and School of Yinyang did not hesitate and decided to go all out. The Blood Deer Patriarch would not let them off even if he wanted to deal with the desolate nation. Rumble. As the group of experts stepped out, their auras surged and the space rippled. Waves of extremely powerful auras spread out from the sky, causing the world to tremble invisibly. With such a lineup of forces, there were many experts who were not ordinary. There were already quite a number of Saint Realm cultivators, which made the major forces present frown inwardly. The experts from the Beast Alliance and the Human Clan knew very well that apart from the top experts, the number of Saint Realm cultivators alone was not enough for either the Beast Alliance or the Human Clan. Moreover, most of these people were still very young, which proved that their future was limitless. In time, such a lineup would be absolutely terrifying. Du Tingxuan's long hair fluttered, and his long robe fluttered. His entire body was wrapped in faint lightning. He looked directly at Ming Snipe and the Blood Deer Patriarch. His eyes were like a sea of lightning. On his handsome face, the lightning in his eyes were deep and murderous. However, his emotions remained the same, like a boulder. He said to Du Xiaojing, "One each. If it's not easy to deal with them, go find your brother."
Yes.
"It's not time yet," Du Xiaojing said. Lightning also surged out of his eyes. "Humph, another family. Fine. I'll kill you all, then I'll go kill that little brat." The Blood Deer Patriarch's face was gloomy. His blood aura fluctuated slowly. He glanced at Du Tingxian, Du Xiaojing, Du Xiaohuang, and the others. He knew that these guys were a little unusual, but he did not pay much attention to them at the moment. He only cared about Du Xiaofu, the red-bone horse monkey, and the strange dragon. Du Tingxian didn't say anything. His body was as straight as a spear, straight and fierce. His eyes that were filled with killing intent gradually sharpened and began to ripple with lightning. He stared at blood-malevolent ancestor, intending to go all out. Buzz! Buzz! Yi Piaoling waved her arm and a long sword appeared in her hand. Her eyes began to emit a biting cold sharpness. Xingu Yu's long robe fluttered. With a long spear in his hand, his aura surged like that of a ferocious beast. Zhen Qingchuan's body fluctuated with a murderous aura. On his wretched face, cold light flashed in his eyes. Feeling the fluctuations of the aura from the figures, the surrounding experts secretly trembled. Humph, it's good to have a good show. Humph. Long Qianxiao, Hui Wu, and the others in the distant sky sneered. These people from the desolate country were doomed this time. People of the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan, listen up. Use all your strength to deal with these two old guys. In the future, kill every one of the Roe Deer Owl clan you see. Du Xiaoqing said in a deep voice. From her beautiful figure, a terrifying green-red flame swept out. The billowing flame was accompanied by monstrous talisman runes. It was like a volcano erupting. The temperature of the flame was so high that it caused people to crawl and wither away. I'll kill every one of the Roe Deer Owl clan I see in the future. Humph! Little Tiger shouted in a deep voice. His tall and straight body emitted dazzling ink-black talisman runes. His aura was as oppressive as a mountain. His gaze was like a tiger staring at its prey. His aura rolled out and his voice was like thunder, causing people to tremble in fear. Middle stage, Sacred Beast Realm, peak initial Sacred Beast Realm. At this moment, Du Xiaoqing and Little Tiger's aura swept out without any concealment. Everyone's expression changed drastically. Du Tingxian, Ouyang Shuang, Zhen Qingchun, and the others were all secretly shocked. How long had it been? Du Xiaoqing and Little Tiger had already reached the middle stage Sacred Beast Realm and the peak initial Sacred Beast Realm. Such benefits were too great and too great a blow to their confidence. Humph! No one can protect these humans today. Huh! Blood-malevolent ancestor did not want to delay any longer. He attacked first. Once the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan and the Dark Heavenly Tiger Clan intervened, it would be more or less troublesome. Boom! Boom! As his voice fell, blood-malevolent ancestor directly attacked without any hesitation. The pair of blood-red wings on his back did not move, but his figure was already in the air. His technique was not ordinary. The blood-red light on his body turned into talisman runes that filled the sky. It condensed into a waterfall, like a blood-red thunderbolt, and directly fell on the people of the desolate country. The blood-red energy rushed in all directions. Rumble. At this moment, lightning flashed in Du Xiaoqing's eyes, and his aura exploded with full force. It was like the sound of the heavens exploding. The might of an innate holy sovereign swept out, and the thunder martial vein covered his body. His aura was vast and boundless, as if he could kill all living things. With a great momentum, he swept out and directly collided with Du Tingxian. Rumble. The blood-red light and the holy might of the lightning surged and collided with each other. It was shocking, and the surrounding void shattered inch by inch. This blood-red light was too terrifying. Wait! Du Xiaofu's beautiful figure staggered back dozens of feet. The blood-red light swept out and spread out, greatly affecting the people of the desolate country. Puffed! When the beautiful figure stopped retreating in an instant, Du Xiaojing could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood, and then his face turned pale. Everyone was shocked. Blood-malevolent ancestor was so powerful that he did not hold back at all. Although Du Xiaojing was injured, he still managed to resist. The aura on Du Xiaojing's body is not ordinary. It's holy might. Could it be? Some of the experts present had sharp eyes and could feel the aura on Du Xiaojing's body. It was extraordinary. He has some strength, but that's all. He's destined to die young. Blood-malevolent ancestor's face turned gloomy when his attack missed. The blood chi on his body surged, and the flesh wings on his back trembled. However, when blood-malevolent ancestor's voice fell, he suddenly raised his eyes and looked at the void to his left. He seemed to have sensed something, and his face suddenly changed. At this moment, after Blood Malevolent Ancestor made his move, Ming Xie was not willing to be left behind. He raised his palm, and a majestic celestial chi surged out. It was accompanied by a terrifying evil aura that turned into a vortex that spun rapidly, spreading a monstrous and terrifying pressure. "Kill them all," Ming Xie said coldly. He raised his hand and pushed forward. His killing intent surged, and the majestic evil aura storm that seemed to connect the heavens and the earth suddenly swept out. It crashed into the space and shattered it inch by inch. The surrounding space fragments were like powder, and wherever it passed, a vast void space was revealed that was slowly merging. Such a terrifying power immediately enveloped the people of the desolate country. Under this terrifying power, the experts of the desolate country were all frightened. They were suppressed to the point where they could not resist. The evil aura affected their spirits, and a palpitating aura appeared in their hearts for no reason. Du Xiaojing, Du Xiaoqing, Du Tingxian, Du Xiaohuang, and Little Tiger's eyes suddenly changed color. A terrifying light surged out from their eyes. They stood in the air, and in an instant, the strange aura around them became stronger and stronger, as if it was accumulating something. Rumble, rumble. In the blink of an eye, the terrifying vortex of baleful aura had already arrived. The space trembled, and it seemed like it was about to hit Huanghua. The terrifying power sealed off the surrounding space, and runes filled the sky, covering the void. Quickly think of a way to escape. We'll hold them off. At the same time, Du Tingxian said softly. He knew very well that it was difficult to stop Ming Xie and Blood Deer Ancestor at this moment. Ming Xie, how dare you hurt my clan's little ancestor? Rumble. Ming Xie, do you want to provoke my Dark Heaven Tiger clan? Chi. At the same time, Chi Su and Little Tiger both shouted. Their auras surged. No matter what, no accident could happen to Little Green and Little Tiger. Evil creature, don't you think you're too weak to touch the people of the desolate country with this little bit of strength? Chi. At the same time, a bone-chilling voice rang out. At this moment, in front of the terrifying evil aura vortex, the space rippled and a purple figure stepped out of thin air. Then, he appeared under the gazes of countless people. Chapter 24-27. Translator. Nyoibo Studio Editor. Nyoibo Studio. The purple figure stood in the air, his figure tall and straight. He seemed to have appeared as light as a feather, but the torrential energy released by the terrifying vortex that connected the heavens and the earth was unable to even ruffle the corners of his purple robes. When this person appeared, he floated in the air. On his resolute and determined face, there was a purple-gold coldness in his calm eyes. For some reason, the aura that was faintly discernible from his body caused others to feel an extreme trembling sensation. At this moment, this tall and straight figure was calmly standing in front of the frightening baleful aura tornado that seemed to connect the heavens and the earth. It appeared as though he was an ant in front of an elephant in front of this tornado. However, this baleful aura tornado, which was so large that it could destroy space itself, was completely unable to shake this figure in the slightest. Walala! Space shattered. In front of the tornado, any fiendish aura that collided with this tall and straight figure would automatically disappear without a trace in an instant. This instantaneous change caused Ming Snipe's expression to change. He discovered that his attack was actually unable to advance even half an inch. At the same time, shock surged in Patriarch Blood Malevolent's heart. He raised his head and saw the purple-robed figure hovering in the air. That figure was far too familiar, causing him to feel both shocked and heavy. He involuntarily cried out, Du Xiaofu, you've finally come. It's that Du Xiaofu. Ming Snipe's eyes suddenly flashed as he immediately looked over. So this brat was that Rock Emperor Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu? He's that Rock Emperor Du Xiaofu? As Patriarch Blood Malevolent's voice fell, the entire scene changed. Gaze after gaze landed on the newcomer like lightning. Long Qianchao, Hui Wu, Shi Hongtu, and Su Sanyan's sneering faces could not help but twitch. Old Blood Deer, is it you again? You old bastard? It was also at this moment that a voice that still carried a hint of immaturity seemed to ring out from the depths of the void. The voice came from afar, as if it had seeped out from the void itself. As soon as the voice was heard, two more figures appeared in the sky. It was a girl around the age of 11 or 12. She wore a red dress with starry patterns flashing on it. Deep within her eyes, there was a golden brilliance. In particular, there was a vertical rune mark between her eyebrows, which added a hint of evilness to her noble temperament. The appearance of such a small figure carried a terrifying supreme aura for no reason, causing Du Xie, Hu Qing, Qi Su, and the others to immediately raise their heads to look over and carefully size him up. Beside the little girl was a skinny and shriveled old man. He was so skinny that he looked like a 10-year-old youth. His face seemed to be only skin and bones. There was no flesh on his face, and he had a few strands of white goatee that swayed with the wind. His deep eyes flickered with lightning, causing one's yuan spirit to feel a searing pain when looking at them, as if it was about to be destroyed. When the old man appeared, the surrounding space froze, and it immediately caused intense ripples to appear in the eyes of many people. Lei Yang, it's Lei Yang. Someone could not help but exclaim. It was Lei Yang, a top expert who was definitely not inferior to Ancestor Du Xie. At this moment, when the purple-robed figure and the little girl appeared, Dai Xingyu, Du Xiaoba, Sumu Xin, Dongli Qingqing, Zhen Xingchun, and the others all had smiles on their faces. Father, Sister Xingxing, Du Xiaohuang, Du Xiaoba, and the others had the most ecstatic expression on their young and tender faces. At this moment, it was Du Xiaofu, little Xingxing, and Lei Yang who had arrived. Ancestor Blood Malevolent's face immediately twitched. Originally, he was shocked when Du Xiaofu had arrived, but he was secretly delighted because this was the main character. Today, he could deal with both of them together. However, when he saw the strange dragon arrive at the same time, his expression did not look too good. When he saw that Lei Yang, the strange dragon, and Du Xiaofu had arrived together, and they seemed to have a good relationship, Ancestor Blood Malevolent couldn't help but be surprised. Didn't the rumors say that Lei Yang and Du Xiaofu had a great grudge, and that they had even fought a great battle? Why were they together now? It's him. He's the Rock Emperor. In an instant, all the living beings present looked at each other in dismay. Their eyes were trembling. How dare you, evil creature? In the monstrous evil aura vortex, Du Xiaofu's eyes glowed purple gold. He shook his arm, and under the invisible energy, the rapidly rotating evil aura vortex suddenly froze, and some of the runes began to crumble. Heavens, what kind of remarkable ability is this? As the huge, fiendish aura tornado suddenly froze, everyone was shocked, and the sound of people sucking in cold breaths resounded in the air. Ming Xie's cultivation was at the late stage of the holy beast realm, and his monstrous fiendish aura was enough to make people of the same realm tremble in fear, but at this moment, it seemed to be useless in front of the great Rock Emperor. Everyone was dumbfounded, and their hearts trembled with fear. At this moment, something even more shocking happened. Du Xiaofu took a step forward, and a thunderous voice resounded in everyone's ears, "Evil creature, your late holy beast stage cultivation is really not that good." When the last word was spoken, Du Xiaofu's figure had already crossed the evil aura vortex and appeared directly in front of Du Xiaofu. At the same time, the enormous evil aura vortex behind Du Xiaofu suddenly began to tremble. As the evil aura vortex trembled, the entire space seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Then, huge cracks appeared on the evil aura vortex. Crack, crack. In the next moment, cracking sounds were heard, and the enormous evil aura vortex collapsed like a mountain. There was no loud sound, only the sound of space shattering, and the runes were destroyed in the void. The inside of the enormous evil aura vortex collapsed inch by inch, as if doomsday had arrived. However, there was no energy fluctuation outside of the evil aura vortex. It was just that within the tornado of evil aura, the light of shattering was dazzling and deep. A majestic pressure descended from the sky, causing the entire space to instantly turn into a deep, pitch-black hole. Rumble. The entire surrounding space began to rumble and tremble at this moment. Endless energy light distorted in the air, but there was no sound. None of this leaked out, and it was all happening behind Du Xiaofu's back. All of this was too shocking, and it caused everyone's expression to change. They were all dumbstruck. Everyone was astonished as they stared at the tall and straight figure in the sky. That figure gave off an incomparably supreme aura. He didn't move at all, but he was able to suppress all living things and sweep across all directions. At this moment, Ancestor Du Xiaofu's face froze. It was unknown if he was shocked by the fact that his attack had been silently destroyed, or if he was shocked by the invisible and terrifying aura that he felt. "You have to pay the price for touching the people of my desolate country." Du Xiaofu stared at the unconscious man as he spoke with a cold tone. His cold words resounded through the vast sky. When the final word left his mouth, a cold light shot out from his purple-gold eyes. Chapter 24-28. Under Ancestor Tu Xie's horrified gaze, the space around him froze as if he did not have the strength to dodge at all. Du Xiaofu raised his arm and threw a punch, viciously smashing into his chest. Rumble. A muffled thunder-like sound rang out. Ancestor Ming Xie immediately spat out a mouthful of fresh blood after the punch landed. His body was like a bird with broken wings as he shot backwards at an angle. He was like a meteorite crashing into the ground as he heavily smashed into the mountain below. Bang! Bang! Amidst the loud noise, a frightening force directly blasted the mountain top apart. Huge rocks collapsed and shattered rocks flew in all directions. Numerous cracks extended from the hard stone walls. Everyone was shocked when they saw this scene. "He's so strong." The hearts of the experts present trembled. This was not an ordinary shock. Ancestor Ming Xie was an expert at the advanced Saint Beast realm, but he couldn't even withstand a single blow from Du Xiaofu. Has Du Xiaofu reached the perfected Saint realm? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. With such strength, he must have reached the perfected Saint realm. Looking at Du Xiaofu, Ancestor Blood Malevolent's face suddenly changed. Hu Qing, Qi Su, and the other top experts present also had shock in their eyes. Such a human was actually so strong to such a frightening extent. He has advanced by leaps and bounds again. Jin Qingchun, Old Lei, and the others were pleasantly surprised. This kind of strength was too terrifying. Every move he made had the power to shatter space. Roar! A deep roar spread. The ground where Ancestor Ming Xie landed exploded. Shattered rocks shot up into the sky, and rays of light shot out and turned into his huge body. He looked like a wolf with a red head and rat eyes. His voice was like a dolphin's, and his murderous aura was monstrous. It swept out as if it covered the sky. "Boy, I'm not done with you." Ancestor Ming Xie's body was as huge as a mountain. His fierce eyes seemed to contain 2 seas of murderous aura. He stared at Du Xiaofu with a cold glint. "You're overestimating yourself. You're courting death." Little Xingxing directly attacked. His small body erupted with an unimaginable aura at this moment. Golden flames covered his small fist, and the surrounding space distorted into nothingness. The high temperature seeped into the void and crossed the void. His fist violently smashed toward Ming Xie, and the void before the fist exploded with a rumbling sound. Advanced Saint Beast realm. Staring at little Xingxing, Ming Xie's expression changed. The little girl was at the advanced Saint Beast realm, and the supreme aura from her could directly affect his beast soul and bloodline. He couldn't expel it. "Old thing, we meet again." Little Star had already attacked Ming Snipe, but Du Xiaofu was too lazy to pay attention to him. His purple-gold eyes stared at Blood Mane Patriarch. "Xie, you've made another breakthrough again?" Watching Du Xiaofu being blocked by the little alien dragon, who had reached the late stage of the sacred beast realm, Patriarch Blood Malevolent sensed Du Xiaofu's aura. The fact that Du Xiaofu had punched Du Xiaofu proved that he had made another terrifying breakthrough in his cultivation base in this short period of time. "Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive." Du Xiaofu ignored Patriarch Xuedi and swept his gaze across the surroundings. He pointed at the experts of the Ro Owl clan who had come with Patriarch Xuedi. "Yes, master." Lei Yang opened his mouth. His voice was like thunder. At the same time, A majestic energy storm erupted from within Lei Yang's body in an incomparably destructive manner. Rumble. In an instant, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the void. Wind rose and clouds surged. Electric arcs shone brightly, accompanied by the rumbling sound of thunder, whistling and surging. The aura of thunder and lightning surged wildly, turning into a vortex. Like a lightning tornado, it swept towards the experts of the Roal clan. Lei Yang attacked directly. Bolts of lightning with dazzling radiance swept out. The dazzling lightning bolts were terrifying. Wherever they passed, the void shattered silently. Electric arcs wreaked havoc, and the aura was destructive. Lei Yang, how dare you? Blood Row Patriarch's expression changed. He knew very well that the people of the Roal clan he brought with him were no match for Lei Yang. This is the price you have to pay. A faint voice sounded. Du Xiaofu's figure appeared in front of Blood Row Patriarch like a ghost, blocking his path. Little bastard, I'm not done with you. Staring at Du Xiaofu, Blood Row Patriarch's gloomy face was ice cold. His eyes were cold, and the flesh wings on his back spread out. Powerful energy fluctuations fluctuated as fast as lightning. In an instant, he pounced on Du Xiaofu with a murderous aura. Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows. Suddenly, golden light surged in his eyes. It was sharp and frightening. The golden light wrapped around his body, and a domineering and fierce aura swept out from his body in an instant. He shook his arm, and a fist wrapped in golden light blasted out. Roar! When this fist blasted out, the faint cry of a divine elephant and the roar of a dragon could be heard. The golden fist suddenly collided with the former's flesh wings, and a domineering energy swept out. Rumble. This collision caused an explosion in a flash. The terrifying air waves and runes stirred up the surrounding space like stormy waves. Thump, thump, thump. Under everyone's gazes, as the explosion spread, Blood Row Patriarch's fleshy wings opened up, and his body was blasted back in the void. Blood Row Patriarch's eyes were filled with astonishment. That brat was actually so strong. At this moment, Hu Qing, Qi Su, and the others were moved, and their gazes changed again. Du Xiaofu's body swayed slightly in the void. Looking at Blood Row Patriarch who was blasted back, a chilling light gushed out from his eyes. He took a step forward, and a vast and domineering aura spread out. Dazzling golden light shone as he executed the unfettered steps. He was like a ghost, and instantly chased after Blood Row Patriarch. Screech! Screech! The sudden change shocked Blood Row Patriarch, but he was no weakling. In an instant, he transformed into his huge roe owl form. The light in his huge eyes shot out to the extreme, and the aura on his body was astonishing. With him as the center, blood-red runes swept out in all directions like a tsunami. The space trembled, the void rumbled, and blood chi surged. How strong can you be? Do you really think I can't kill you? As his voice faded, the bloody aura that filled the sky surged. The terrifying flesh wings on his back exploded, shattering the void. The bloody aura that filled the sky seemed to form a sea of blood that flooded towards Du Xiaofu. Although the monstrous blood chi blocked him, Du Xiaofu did not stop. Golden light burst out from his back, and a pair of golden-winged rock wings spread out. Boom! Boom! At the same time, the azure spirit armor covered his body, and the real rock wings spread out behind him. Du Xiaofu seemed to have transformed into a real golden-winged rock and was about to soar into the sky. Such an aura caused the experts present to be uncontrollably moved, and violent fluctuations appeared in their eyes. Such an aura was like a real golden-winged rock, and the aura of a supreme beast was incomparably domineering. Du Xiaofu did not stop. He knew that Blood Row Patriarch was not ordinary, and he definitely could not let him go today. Chapter 24-29. Du Xiaofu's hand seals quickly condensed. Ancient runes rippled out from his body, forming the outline of the 8 trigrams void diagram. The 8 directions connected to each other, forming a dazzling divine ring. The 8 trigrams void diagram appeared and spread out in all directions. Rumble. The entire firmament trembled quietly. In an instant, The 8 trigrams void diagram emitted the cries of thousands of beasts, and dazzling lightning descended. The phantom of a golden-winged rock flapped its wings. Mountains and lakes formed. Wind, rain, thunder, and lightning alternated, and the sun, moon, and stars changed. The 8 trigrams void diagram connected heaven and earth, containing all things. It was like a small world had fallen, directly affecting the monstrous blood aura. What is this? The living experts in the surroundings trembled. The terrifying aura spread out, making their hair stand on end and their hearts jump. Patriarch Blood Malevolent's cold blood-red eyes trembled. It was this strange technique again. Back then, he had suffered a lot from this technique. The 8 trigrams void diagram instantly enveloped the Blood Malevolent ancestor. The strange aura greatly affected him, and everything was violently suppressed. An invisible aura that made him tremble surged out from the depths of his beast soul. Du Xiaofu was in the air, staring at the Blood Malevolent ancestor from within the 8 trigrams void diagram. The murderous intent in his eyes was undisguised. Last time, this old man dared to have designs on Du Xiaohuang and Du Xiaoba, and the consequences were unimaginable. This time, he was preparing to make a move on the people of the desolate country. He had touched Du Xiaofu's bottom line again and again. This time, Du Xiaofu did not plan to let him go. He was no longer at the intermediate Saint Realm. After stepping into the late Saint Realm and obtaining the complete, desolate ancient space, his cultivation had improved. With his current strength, Du Xiaofu no longer feared the Blood Malevolent ancestor in front of him. He wanted to kill him. Blood Malevolent ancestor was affected by this strange void. His radiance filled the sky, and his murderous aura swept out like a storm. His ferocious beast head looked like a human face with horns on his forehead. His eyes shone brightly, his nose protruded, and his teeth were as sharp as saws. A pair of fleshy wings spread out, and his entire body was covered in dark red scales. They were the color of dried blood, emitting a dazzling light. At this moment, the Blood Malevolent Patriarch's body was surging with blood qi. It was extremely frightening, especially the pair of wings behind his back. Mysterious runes swept out like clouds in the sky. Blood light covered the void and drowned the heavens. Ow! Blood Malevolent Patriarch roared. His voice was like heavenly thunder, shocking people's hearts and souls. With him as the center, the Blood Malevolent talisman on the surface of his body swept out in all directions like a tsunami, causing the void 8 trigrams to tremble and the void to rumble. Facing Du Xiaofu, Patriarch Blood Malevolent's eyes gradually darkened. He had a bad feeling about this. This human youth's improvement was too fast. It was terrifying. Blood Malevolent Patriarch didn't want to wait any longer. He didn't have the time to wait either. The younger generation of the Ro Owl clan was being slaughtered by the Thunder Goat. Boom, boom. The pair of wings on his back flapped rapidly. Blood Malevolent Patriarch wanted to stop the Thunder Goat and help the younger generation of the Ro Owl clan. Blood light overflowed into the sky, erupting with strange, mysterious runes. Vaguely, strange spatial fluctuations appeared around him, shattering many spatial ripples and forming a pitch-black void. He wanted to break free from the void 8 trigrams. Oomph! Du Xiaofu had already made up his mind to kill. How could he let Blood Malevolent Patriarch leave? His eyes were filled with purple gold light. His figure soared into the sky, directly blocking Blood Malevolent Patriarch's path. Brat, you're courting death. Blood Malevolent Patriarch was furious. He was worried that if he delayed any longer, the younger generation of the Ro Owl clan's elders would all die. His body's aura was unparalleled. Blood light swept out, and the Blood Malevolent qi around him was like a sea of blood. A large amount of blood light instantly enveloped Du Xiaofu. The blood light pierced through the void, carrying with it a billowing Blood Malevolent qi that could corrode everything. The void 8 trigrams trembled. The blood light was resplendent, carrying with it a destructive force. Wherever it passed, the void turned into nothingness. Boom, boom. Du Xiaofu did not retreat. Instead, he advanced. He was not afraid of the terrifying blood light. Purple lightning covered his body as he activated his thunder martial vein. His figure was like a bolt of lightning as he pounced forward. His domineering fist carried the roar of a dragon and elephant. Accompanied by the power of thunder, it heavily bombarded Blood Malevolent Patriarch. Blood Malevolent Patriarch's eyes were cold. He directly collided with Yi Shiwen's fist. Boom, boom. The place where the two fists collided exploded. The runes were shattered, and the void around them trembled. Boom, boom. In an instant, an unbelievable scene appeared. Blood Malevolent Patriarch's figure was immediately pushed back. The blood light in front of his fist shattered, and a faint trace of blood seeped out. Oh my God! Blood Malevolent Patriarch is at a disadvantage. He's injured. Is this true? Boom. As Blood Malevolent Patriarch was pushed back, all the living beings around were dumbfounded. They could not believe it. The dignified Blood Malevolent Patriarch was actually injured in a single move by the Great Rock Emperor. No one would believe it if they told others about it. However, they had witnessed it with their own eyes. Late Stage Saint Realm. You've reached Late Stage Saint Realm. Blood Malevolent Patriarch exclaimed in shock. He was unable to stabilize his declining figure. His face was twitching in shock. He had only felt that Du Xiaofu's aura had strengthened a lot. However, he had come to know that this brat had reached Late Stage Saint Realm. Moreover, he had reached the Late Stage Saint Realm. This was too astonishing. Blood Malevolent Patriarch was shocked to the extreme. He had been indescribably shocked when Du Xiaofu had advanced from the initial stage of Saint Realm to the intermediate stage of Saint Realm. However, this human had advanced from the intermediate stage of Saint Realm to the late stage Saint Realm in such a short time. Was this cultivation speed flying? Blood Malevolent Patriarch thought that it must be the effect of that precious treasure. Otherwise, who could make such an abnormal breakthrough at such an abnormal speed? Blood Malevolent Patriarch was shocked. However, Du Xiaofu did not delay at all. Whoosh! Boom! Seizing the opportunity to strike again, Du Xiaofu's figure pounced out from within the 8 trigrams diagram. His eyes glowed with purplish gold as his fists turned into claws. Golden light overflowed in all directions, and the faint cry of a great rock could be heard. Once again, Du Xiaofu clawed at the Blood Malevolent Patriarch. Blood Malevolent Patriarch no longer dared to underestimate Yi Shiwen. His complexion had turned solemn. His palm carried a dreadful, imposing aura, and directly slapped at Du Xiaofu's claw. Boom! Boom! Such a sudden collision was as fast as lightning. It emitted resplendent rays of light, illuminating the stormy void. In an instant, the space around both of them collapsed. The rays of light were shattered. The creatures who were fighting in the distant void were also frightened. They were greatly affected. Crack! Crack! Blood Malevolent Patriarch's palm cracked once again. Blood overflowed from his palm. He was shaken back once again. Bang! Bang! Continuous muffled sounds were heard from the void under his feet. His wound was bleeding profusely. It was difficult for his wound to heal. This time, Blood Malevolent Patriarch's complexion turned pale. How can he be so strong? Blood Malevolent Patriarch was extremely shocked. His eyes were trembling. Every dog has its day. Blood Malevolent Patriarch, continue. Du Xiaofu did not stop. The thunder martial vein in his body shone brightly, carrying the aura of execution, the majesty of creation, and the righteousness of heaven and earth. He once again attacked Blood Malevolent Patriarch. Star-shattering fist, dark yellow emperor's seal, domineering Tao, heavenly horse violent palm, dark soul eye, Sumeru mirage. Purple gold light filled the sky, shattering the void. In an instant, Du Xiaofu attacked rapidly. He was powerful and domineering. Under the azure spirit armor and the great Pong golden wings, Du Xiaofu was like a real Pong descending. His domineering and terrifying aura filled the sky. He flapped his wings and swept across the sky. Du Xiaofu attacked violently. His domineering aura swept across the sky, crushing everything in its path. Roar! Roar! Beside him, Little Star's huge body also moved. Golden flames filled the sky. Starlight fluctuated, suppressing ancestor Ming Xie until he could not raise his head. The situation was even worse than Blood Malevolent Patriarch. This was no longer a battle. Blood Malevolent Patriarch and Ming Xie were being brutally abused. For terrifying figures collided with each other constantly. The sky was like thunder, bursting with a series of rune lights. Rune energy shot out like fireworks, causing the entire sky to be filled with dazzling light. The surrounding sky trembled. Roar! Roar! Blood Malevolent Patriarch was finally shocked. He let out a ferocious roar. The wings on his back suddenly expanded to 100 feet. Bloodlight runes shone brightly. Violent energy poured out from his body. His murderous aura filled the sky, distorting the void as if he was controlling the world. Rumble. At this moment, Blood Malevolent Patriarch erupted. His body shone with dazzling bloodlight like a rising blood sun. His invisible aura suppressed and confined the surrounding void. Tiny void cracks spread out in all directions. "I'll fight you to the death." Roar. Blood Malevolent Patriarch roared. He was the patriarch of the Ro Owl clan. Was he really helpless against this human? Bloodlight filled the sky. Pitch-black spatial cracks spread out in the surrounding void. The 8 trigrams void diagram revealed a heart-palpitating pitch-black light. The diagram began to crack, emitting a dazzling bloodlight. Du Xiaofu's eyes were cold. At this moment, he did not take it to heart. Hand seals continued to form in his hands. As the hand seal was formed, the 8 trigrams diagram in the void rippled. Lightning flashed, thunder rumbled, and thunder rumbled. Dazzling runes intertwined and traversed the universe. Bolts of lightning descended like heavenly thunder, carrying the purest yang qi as they suppressed Blood Malevolent Patriarch. At the same time, with Du Xiaofu as the center, the 8 trigrams void diagram continued to expand. The 8 trigrams void diagram was changing, deducing, and deriving. Upper heaven and lower DUI, heavenly luster trigrams break. Upper heaven and lower DUI, heavenly fire trigrams break. As Du Xiaofu's strange hand seals formed one after another, the 8 trigrams void diagram changed in a myriad of ways. A vast pressure emerged from the void. Rumble. Suddenly, stars of lightning appeared in the sky, and surging flames blazed. The earth quaked and the mountains shook, and the world resonated. The resplendent talisman markings were like an ocean that gave rise to tempestuous waves. Bang, 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 bang. With such a suppression, the 8 trigrams void diagram enveloped the entire firmament. Blood Malevolent Patriarch could not evade it all. He could only resist with all his might, bursting forth with boundless blood light. Muffled, thunderous explosions reverberated in the firmament, causing heaven and earth to tremble. Pitch-black spatial cracks swept out along with broken runes. Bloodlight filled the sky. Chapter 24:30. Berserk energy rippled out like a tsunami, stopping after a certain distance. Too terrifying. The surrounding experts felt their blood run cold. To think that Du Xiaofu and old ancestor Xuedi could actually fight to such an extent. Moreover, the dignified old ancestor Xuedi was being oppressed from beginning to end. Blood Malevolent Patriarch continuously vomited blood, his body continuously retreating on the 8 trigrams void diagram. At this moment, the depths of Blood Malevolent Patriarch's heart were shaken, waves of fear surging out. In such a short period of time, this Du Xiaofu had actually become so terrifying. At the same level, he actually suppressed Blood Malevolent Patriarch to the point that Blood Malevolent Patriarch could not resist. Blood to heaven! Roar! Blood Malevolent Patriarch shouted, knowing that if he did not fight with his life on the line today, there would be no end to this. Boom! Roar! Blood Malevolent Patriarch's eyes darkened, the blood aura around his body surging out in all directions. Blood light surged, causing the void to faintly echo with the cries of ghosts and howls of gods. Goo goo! At the same time, a monstrous aura began to pervade the air around Blood Malevolent Patriarch. Black mist swirled around him like boiling blood, and the initial howls continued to ring out. Huff huff! Roar! A sea of blood boiled, and the mysterious runes of the blood light talisman transformed into tiny drops of blood that soared into the sky, accompanied by the spatial fluctuations around blood malevolent patriarch. This is the blood transformation art of the Roe Deer clan. After using it, one's strength will skyrocket, but one has to pay a huge price. It seems that blood malevolent patriarch has been pushed to the limit. Roar. This human Du Xiaofu's strength has pushed blood malevolent patriarch to the limit. Roar. Looking at the sky in front of them, the experts all around began to discuss softly in shock. Sunshine of the Sun Clan was currently in the lineup of the Sun Clan. Her eyes trembled slightly as she stared intently at the sky in front of her. Based on her understanding of Du Xiaofu, he was a pervert. Every time they met, he would shock her. At this moment, Sunshine finally understood that this guy was indeed a freak. In the short time that she had not seen him, he could already trample on blood malevolent patriarch. Roar. Blood malevolent chi gushed out from blood malevolent ancestor's body. His aura seemed to have recovered to its peak state before he was seriously injured. His blood-red eyes shone brightly, and the blood malevolent chi on his body grew denser. Waves of invisible blood malevolent chi spread out from his body, causing people's hearts to tremble. You're still young. Blood malevolent patriarch's eyes twitched. With a cold shout, the fleshy wings on his back soared into the sky like a smear of blood. As the blood-red wings flapped, the aura in the air changed abruptly. Facing Du Xiaofu, blood malevolent patriarch had obviously become extremely serious. He didn't dare to be careless. If you dare to touch my Huang country, you will die today. As soon as Du Xiaofu's real body finished speaking, he fixed his gaze on patriarch blood malevolent. Surging killing intent instantly filled the entire space. Chi. At the same time, purple-gold electric arcs filled Du Xiaofu's thunder martial vein. The purple-gold electric arcs were accompanied by a terrifying murderous aura, which made the souls of living creatures unable to withstand the terrifying pressure. Oomph! Blood malevolent patriarch's killing intent surged. Without stopping, the blood-red wings on his back flapped, and an earth-shattering murderous aura spread out. The monstrous murderous aura was accompanied by an equally terrifying aura as it condensed in the air. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The murderous aura and pressure that filled the sky gushed out, forming a sea of blood behind patriarch blood malevolent patriarch. Thousands of giant waves rose from the sea of blood, and the murderous aura blotted out the sky. The giant waves of the sea of blood were like real objects. In front of the waves, there were pitch-black spatial dots that flickered with a strange blood-red color. Du Xiaofu's gaze was fixed on the waves of the sea of blood. The dense blood-red waves were extraordinary. Just the murderous aura alone was enough to greatly affect those at the same cultivation level. The strength of Patriarch Blood Malevolent Patriarch was absolutely terrifying. Kid, go to hell. Swoosh. Blood Malevolent Patriarch's gloomy voice echoed in the space. Blood light flashed, and the blood-red wings began to tremble, sweeping out with the blood-red waves. Old thing, let's see who's going to die. Boom. Du Xiaofu took a step forward, and along with the Void 8 trigrams diagram, the space trembled. His voice was also filled with boundless killing intent. As Du Xiaofu's voice fell, the brilliance on his body flickered, and the aura around his body suddenly changed, becoming violent. It was as if a bomb had been thrown into the calm water, and in an instant, stormy waves rose. Boom, boom. The sky suddenly changed color, and a mysterious and mighty force descended from the void. Suddenly, dazzling runes gushed out from Du Xiaofu's body, and his body underwent a strange transformation. It was as if his body was expanding, and also as if something was condensing around him. In an instant, the sky changed color, and on the Void 8 trigrams diagram, Du Xiaofu transformed into a giant that was at least 100 feet tall. His entire body emitted a misty mist, and his aura was terrifying. It was as if millions of mountains had descended from the sky, as if he had traveled through time and space from ancient times. All the living experts present trembled. That huge body made their hearts feel like they were about to explode, and they almost went limp. When such a huge body towered above the Void 8 trigrams diagram, dark clouds gathered in the sky, and the wind surged. The surging power of the sorcerer god came from ancient times, traversing time and space. The surrounding void was filled with endless wind and thunder, clanging and clanging. Living beings who were not strong enough had already gone limp under the terrifying power that engulfed them. Rumble, rumble. The huge body of the sorcerer god condensed, and Du Xiaofu immediately made his move. He waved his hand and directly slapped the sea of blood around blood malevolent patriarch. This palm print was made by the body of the sorcerer god. The sky was filled with runes, vast and surging, like a series of mountain torrents. In an instant, the rumbling of wind and thunder resounded, and the power of the sorcerer god spread. Everywhere it passed, the space exploded. Around the body of the sorcerer god, countless gods and demons were chanting, and it was soul-shaking. The rich and surging power of the sorcerer god seemed to have traversed time and space from ancient times, and directly overturned the sea of blood. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's body of the sorcerer god was about the same size as blood malevolent patriarch's body. He dove into the sea of blood, and once again engaged in a fierce battle with blood malevolent patriarch. Rumble. Such a great battle shook the sky, and the surrounding space distorted. Space rippled like boiling water, and ripples spread out in all directions. Such a great battle had exceeded everyone's expectations. Rumble. At this moment, the void was boiling, and many living experts below felt their blood boiling. Everyone knew that the Rock Emperor Du Xiaofu was young, but at this moment, he was able to suppress a terrifying existence like blood malevolent patriarch. With such terrifying strength, how could they not be fascinated? In such a battle, blood malevolent patriarch had already used all kinds of methods and abilities. While fighting with little Xingxing, Patriarch Ming Xia also did not hold back. He was fighting with all his strength, and his situation was even worse than blood malevolent patriarchs. Dazzling runes, fierce battle, and bursts of divine light burst out from the collision of energy. The turbulent energy was like an erupting volcano. The energy waves were vast and mighty, and made people tremble with fear. "I'll fight you to the death." Roar. Blood malevolent patriarch roared. He was wounded one after another. The fleshy wings on his back filled the sky with blood-red light, accompanied by a monstrous blood aura, and a strange ghost-like wailing sound in the space, and pressed down on Du Xiaofu. Countless rays of blood-red light violently swept out like blood-red spears. Every spear that swept out tore a pitch-black, blood-red crack in the space. At this moment, if an ordinary peak of the middle stage of the Saint Realm were to be hit by these blood-red spears, they would be directly pierced into pieces. Humph! Du Xiaofu's eyes flashed with a cold light as he spoke. His monstrous killing intent was completely released at this moment. Disdain and anger were revealed in his eyes, and his hand seals suddenly changed. Heavenly Thunder Absolute Break. Boom! Heavenly Fire Dual Break. Boom! Rumble, rumble. In the void, heavenly thunder suddenly fell. Monstrous electric arcs swept across the sky, and raging flames filled the sky. The entire early stage of heaven and earth trembled and roared. Heaven and earth were turned upside down, and the vault of heaven seemed to be on the verge of cracking. Cracks were spreading out. Heaven and earth roared, and the vault of heaven trembled. The terrifying aura made the entire void tremble. Du Xiaofu was madly suppressing blood malevolent patriarch with various means comprehended by the 8 diagrams. The entire void suddenly seemed to be on the verge of collapse. With Du Xiaofu's successive breakthroughs and comprehension, the power of the 8 diagrams of the void had become much stronger than before. The power of the 8 diagrams of the void surged, and a monstrous pressure swept across the space in an instant. The space suddenly trembled, as if it was about to collapse. Ka-ka, ka-ka. The void 8 trigrams diagram was like a world of its own, crushing everything and suppressing all living beings. Blood malevolent patriarch was instantly restrained. The countless blood malevolent spears twisted into a ball, as if they had changed the trajectory of space. The blood spears could no longer hold on. Under a strange, suppressive force, they began to fade away, as if they had met their natural nemesis. Ka-ka, ka-ka. Before the blood spears could even touch Du Xiaofu, they disappeared into the 8 diagrams of the void. Blood Malevolent Patriarch was stunned, and the corners of his mouth were covered in blood. He had been suppressed and affected by various forces and felt that his hands and feet were bound. He didn't know why his attack was suppressed. That kid was too strange. Is this all you can do at the late-stage Saint Beast realm? Du Xiaofu's voice rolled out, and the power of the sorcerer god dissipated. Then, he waved his hand and clapped. The space of the 8 diagrams of the void suddenly trembled and shrank, overturning the vast space and causing lightning to descend. An invisible murderous aura seemed to drive the energy of the world. The 1,000-foot-wide lightning space quickly turned into a 1,000-foot-wide lightning ball. Rumble, rumble. Lightning runes intertwined in the huge lightning ball, and then it instantly descended, bombarding Blood Malevolent Patriarch. Ka-ka-ka. Space ripples constantly emitted cracking sounds, as if they couldn't bear the burden. Cracks spread rapidly around the lightning ball like a spider web, mixed with the invisible killing aura that swept out and spread. The surrounding space was directly shattered into pieces, revealing a huge dark void where lightning arcs intertwined. Dazzling lightning runes intertwined with each other in the huge ball of lightning. At lightning speed, it enveloped Patriarch Blood Malevolent. Everyone could feel a destructive, murderous aura emanating from it. Blood Malevolent Patriarch was close to the peak of the late-stage Saint Beast realm. At this time, under the suppression of the strange force in the 8 diagrams of the void, it was difficult for him to smoothly escape. The huge lightning ball and lightning runes intertwined and enveloped Blood Malevolent Patriarch. At this time, Blood Malevolent Patriarch realized that Du Xiaofu was really difficult to deal with. His cultivation in the late-stage Saint Beast realm was obviously far inferior to Blood Malevolent Patriarch, and his foundation wasn't as solid as Blood Malevolent Patriarch's. However, at this moment, Blood Malevolent Patriarch was suppressed. Blood Sea Malevolent Owl! Exclamation point. Blood Malevolent Patriarch knew that this was a battle of life and death. Everything was beyond his expectations. He felt that he was being restrained by an invisible force in this space. The profound chi in his body surged violently. He waved his claws, and the blood-red wings on his back transformed into countless blood-red spears. The blood-red light spun and formed a huge blood-red spear like a deep hole in space. It directly swallowed the lightning ball, which had arrived in front of him in a flash. The blood-red spear and the lightning ball collided with each other. Lightning runes intertwined and collided with each other. Then, the blood-red wings and the shattered blood-red runes splashed out. Crack, crack. The blood-red wings on Blood Malevolent Patriarch's back were shattered. The lightning ball and lightning runes intertwined and exploded. The killing aura of the killing aura swept across the sky. Under the terrifying killing aura of the killing aura, even the space ripples turned into circles of black ripples, piercing through pitch-black space cracks. All the living experts nervously watched the huge movement in the sky. Their faces and eyes were tense, and they were dumbstruck. Chi, chi. Under the torrential killing aura of the killing aura, Blood Malevolent Patriarch's body was sent flying again. His fierce eyes were filled with shock and seriousness. Evil creature, go to hell. Chi. At the same time, Du Xiaofu's lightning martial vein erupted. The sorcerer god's body crossed the space and stood tall like a mountain. The terrifying power of the sorcerer god surged around him. The terrifying aura rose, and the space was overturned into a void. Without any hesitation, the sorcerer god's body suddenly moved. A huge fist instantly blasted toward Blood Malevolent Patriarch. Sizzle, sizzle. The huge fist was like a fiend god roaring. Everywhere it passed, the space was shattered into nothingness. Blood Malevolent Patriarch's face changed dramatically as he watched the fist coming toward him. This kid's strength had become so terrifying in such a short time. What exactly was that treasure? Blood Malevolent Patriarch could clearly feel that the power of the fist had shattered the entire space. This kind of power was too terrifying. Swoosh, swoosh. Blood-malevolent patriarch did not waste any time. His face was filled with shock. His profound chi spread out in an earth-shattering manner. In his panic, a monstrous blood light covered his body and even formed an extraordinary blood-red armor. The blood-red flesh wings on his back connected with the cave, drawing a mysterious arc in the void. Suddenly, a blood-red beam shot out, carrying a blood-red wave, and fiercely blocked Du Xiaofu's fist. Boom, boom. The collision made a muffled sound in the void, resounding through the universe. In an instant, blood-malevolent ancestor spat out a large mouthful of blood. His face turned pale, and his eyes were filled with horror. That brat's strength was much stronger than he had imagined. Several kinds of terrifying pressure had gathered together. There was the power of thunder and lightning, the dreadful power of execution, and various other unknown forces. Coupled with the strange void pattern, blood-malevolent ancestor couldn't resist. There was even a force that made his beast soul tremble and suppressed him in every aspect. Puffed. Suddenly, blood-malevolent patriarch spat out a mouthful of blood. This blood was exceptionally bright. It was the blood essence in his body. As blood-malevolent patriarch spat out the blood essence, a strange energy fluctuation and a blood-red light spread out. An ancient blood-red pressure seemed to cross the space and time, instantly descending. Du Xiaofu's Void 8 trigrams diagram was also severely affected. This blood-red aura was very strange. Du Xiaofu's expression suddenly changed. "Kid, even if I have to pay the price, I won't let you go." Blood-malevolent patriarch roared. Blood-malevolent ancestor roared furiously. Many experts of the Royal clan had died because of this brat. How could he not be furious? Even if he had to pay an absolute price, he would not let this brat go today. As soon as his voice fell, the flesh wings on blood-malevolent patriarch's back flapped strangely. A lot of blood burst out and quickly merged with the blood essence he had just spat out. Rumble. In an instant, a blood-red light spread out for thousands of miles. The sound of ghosts crying and gods howling could be heard. It was as if the door to Azura had opened. As the blood-red light spread out, it seemed to have crossed the ancient era and submerged Du Xiaofu's Void 8 trigrams diagram. The entire sky was covered by the blood-red light, and Du Xiaofu's sorcerer god physique was instantly wrapped up. "Kiki, kid, you're dead. You'll be trapped here until you die. It won't be that easy to leave the blood-malevolent illusory sea." Blood-malevolent patriarch shouted coldly. His aura was very weak at the moment, and the blood-red light on his huge body had dimmed significantly. Blood-malevolent illusory sea. Blood-malevolent patriarch really doesn't want to live anymore. Blood-malevolent patriarch. Looking at the blood-red sea spreading across the sky and the strange energy fluctuations that could make one's soul tremble even across the void, Hu Qing, Qi Su, and the other experts' expressions changed one after another. The blood-malevolent illusory sea is blood-malevolent patriarch's true trump card. It is also the ancient divine ability of the Royal clan. It is said that by activating the blood-malevolent illusory sea, blood-malevolent patriarch can trap a perfected Saint Realm expert. This is the reason why the patriarchs of the major forces have to give him some face. However, the blood-malevolent illusory sea is too strong. Therefore, the experts of the Royal clan can only activate it twice in their lifetime. It will be difficult for them to achieve great success. An expert spoke, revealing the origin of the blood-malevolent illusory sea. Inside the blood-red sea, there was a strange energy that covered the sky and the sun. It even isolated the energy of heaven and earth. Du Xiaofu's sorcerer god physique wanted to cross the blood-red sea, but he was immediately repelled by a huge rebounding force. There was an energy binding in this space that prevented him from escaping. "This space is strange." Du Xiaofu's expression changed. "Kiki, Kiki." Blood-malevolent patriarch sneered. He stood outside the blood-red sea and looked at the blood-red space that covered the sky. He had paid a huge price, but it was worth it as long as he could get rid of that kid. Blood-malevolent patriarch did not believe that kid could escape from his blood-malevolent illusory sea. Even a perfected Saint Realm expert would not be able to escape if he was trapped by it. "Evil creature, You think you can trap me with this bullshit space? You think too highly of yourself. Kiki. Du Xiaofu's faint voice was emitted from the blood fiend illusory sea, while the blood fiend ancestor was secretly pleased with himself. Suddenly, a dazzling silver-gold light spread out from within the blood fiend illusory sea like the sun. Sizzle. Kiki. In a short moment, the silver-gold light poured out like a waterfall. A terrifying aura of thunder and lightning appeared and spread out in an instant. In a short period of time, the space in front was suddenly enveloped by a terrifying thundercloud, spreading an ancient and terrifying aura. Rumble. Kiki. The space suddenly trembled. The rolling silver-gold light formed a small sea of electric arcs, and a terrifying aura quietly spread out. In the sea of silver-gold electric arcs, a huge body directly stepped out from the blood-red sea. Boom! Boom! At this moment, lightning flashed and thunder roared, turning into an earth-shattering thunder and lightning. The pressure was monstrous, drowning the void. The electric arcs were bright and boundless, and the lightning runes were densely packed, illuminating the void. In the sky full of lightning, a huge red-bone horseape rushed out, releasing a violent and destructive pressure in an instant. Roar! Roar! The red-bone horseape roared. Its eyes seemed to contain two golden suns, and the silver-gold light spread out in all directions. This was Du Xiaofu's red-bone horseape primordial spirit bloodline, which contained several types of spiritual lightning. Rumble. The silver-gold lightning swept out, covering the void and overturning the blood-red sea. The blood-red sea could trap others, but it could not trap the red-bone horseape. What's going on? Roar. The blood-malevolent patriarch did not expect that his blood-red sea could not trap the kid. According to common sense, even a perfect Saint Realm expert would not be able to escape from his blood-red sea. It was rumored that an ancient almighty ancestor of the Roe Deer clan had used the blood fiend illusory sea space to trap an expert whose cultivation was one level higher than his own. The expert was trapped alive to the point of chi deviation before dying within it. Let's see what other tricks you have. Roar. Without any delay, the killing intent in Du Xiaofu's heart had already risen. He could not let the blood deer ancestor go. The scarlet demonic horse monkey's Yuan Shun meridian soul shouted loudly and waved its hand. At the same time, the bright silver-gold lightning arcs around its body suddenly rushed out. Pillars of lightning immediately swept towards the blood deer ancestor. The blood-malevolent patriarch's face turned ugly. The blood-red wings flapped, causing the wind and clouds to surge. Several blood-red lights suddenly collided with the silver-gold lightning pillars. Bang, bang, bang. Such a collision instantly caused the sky to tremble. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Dazzling runes poured down from the sky like gorgeous fireworks. The destructive aura dispersed and destroyed a large area of space into nothingness. You must die today. Bang! Du Xiaofu's huge red-bone horseape primordial spirit bloodline horseape body moved. Majestic silver-gold electric arcs poured out, turning into monstrous thunderbolts that spread out in the space in an instant. Cracks appeared in the space all over the sky. Silver-gold lightning runes intertwined and poured out, turning into silver-gold thunderbolts. In just a short moment, the sky had turned into a blazing sea of thunderbolts, enveloping the entire space. Wherever the silver-gold thunderbolts passed, everything was turned into nothingness. The blood-red wings on the blood-malevolent patriarch's back flew rapidly, blocking the space in front of him and preventing the surging silver-gold thunderbolts from penetrating. His face turned extremely ugly, and blood kept coming out of the corners of his mouth. The blood-malevolent patriarch did not expect Du Xiaofu's battle strength to be so abnormal that even his trump card, the blood-red sea, was useless. Whoosh! Whoosh! Silver-gold thunderbolts erupted, enveloping the blood-malevolent patriarch. Dazzling thunderbolts surged up and down. The space trembled, and a terrifying aura quietly spread out rapidly. Bastard! Whoosh! The blood-malevolent patriarch roared. He had been suppressed to the extreme, and his huge body was constantly being bombarded by thunderbolts. Suppress. Whoosh! The red-bone horseape roared. The endless silver-gold sea of thunderbolts in the space all around rose into the air. Lightning flashed, thunder rumbled, and runes shone brightly. Thunderbolts rolled and surged for hundreds of feet. Wave after wave of thunderbolts continuously swept towards the blood-malevolent patriarch. Boom! Whoosh! The sound of wind and thunder resounded. Du Xiaofu's Magus godbody had already been quietly withdrawn. Endless golden light shone, and he appeared in the air in front of the blood-malevolent patriarch like a human-shaped Pong. The golden Pong wings on his back flapped, and purple-gold thunderbolts flickered in his eyes, killing intent shooting out. An arrow at the end of its flight. Whoosh! Killing intent flashed across Du Xiaofu's eyes, and he sneered. His deep eyes, which were wrapped in purple-gold thunderbolts, also had a wisp of starlight lingering in them. In the next instant, Du Xiaofu's hands formed a series of complicated hand seals that seemed slow, but were actually forming at an extremely fast speed. Then, mysterious runes surged around his body, and multicolored lights swirled like stars. Mysterious runes gushed out from the hand seals, like the stars in the night sky releasing their light. They carried a vast aura that covered the sky and the earth, directly suppressing the blood-malevolent patriarch. As Du Xiaofu's hand seals swept across the sky, the entire space around the initial stage dimmed. It was as if the space above the initial stage had suddenly fallen into the night sky. The pressure was unparalleled, and it suppressed the vast sky. What a powerful technique. It's extraordinary. Extraordinary. Looking at Du Xiaofu's hand seals, the surrounding experts' expressions changed again. The starlight seal pressed down, and its violent power affected the space and swallowed light. It was as if the starry sky had descended, and it almost penetrated the space. Under the astonished gazes of many who felt the tremendous pressure, the space was assimilated wherever it passed. Cracks appeared on the ground below, and it finally appeared above the blood-malevolent patriarch's head. In an instant, a terrifying energy swept out like a storm, and traces of pitch-black spatial cracks appeared in the space. The starlight swallowed the light, and it also swallowed everything in the space. It spread out like lightning, and the spatial ripples collapsed inch by inch. The blood-malevolent patriarch was instantly enveloped by it. His expression changed greatly, and he exerted all his strength, but he could not break free. Rumble! Rumble! Moreover, at this moment, the rolling silver-gold thunderbolts also broke through the blood-malevolent patriarch's defense. The rolling thunderbolts were like a flood opening a gate, and they trapped the blood-malevolent patriarch within. The rolling spiritual thunder, the silver-gold thunderbolts, and the starlight seal shrouded the blood-malevolent patriarch's head. The two simultaneously trapped the blood-malevolent patriarch, and the space tumbled and turned into chaos. At this moment, the blood-malevolent patriarch was shocked to the extreme. His eyes were cold, and his blood aura and profound energy surged out from his body. His blood-colored flesh wings flapped the sky continuously, but he could not break free. Bang! Bang! The starlight seal fell like a river of stars. The blood-malevolent patriarch was hit directly on the head, and he vomited blood continuously, taking advantage of his weakness to take his life. Du Xiaofu's purple-gold eyes flashed with a lightning-like light. With his body as the center, waves of energy spread out. At the same time, a loud roar like a dragon's roar came from his mouth, and it sounded like a divine elephant's trumpet. Oh! At this moment, the void rumbled, and the space trembled violently. Only a few people could see that Du Xiaofu's hand seals were changing, and the mysterious runes on his hands were releasing waves of energy. They turned into countless fist seals at lightning speed, and finally condensed into a palm. Buzz! Buzz! A low hum like the sound of Sanskrit came from the fist seals, accompanied by the mysterious runes cutting through the sky. In a flash, it once again collided with the blood-malevolent patriarch's body. Rumble! Boom! With blood-malevolent ancestor as the center of the collision, terrifying energy ripples suddenly swept out like a stormy sea. Heavenly horse violent palm. Boom! Star-shattering fist. Boom! Sky-shaking wings. Boom! At the same time, Du Xiaofu did not delay any longer. In an instant, waves of incomparably vast saber aura suddenly surged out from his body in all directions without any reservation, causing a terrifying aura fluctuation to rise. In an instant, Du Xiaofu blasted out with lightning speed, and several attacks turned into a storm that swept out. In an instant, the blood-malevolent patriarch was enveloped within. The blood-malevolent patriarch had been continuously vomiting blood. At this moment, one could imagine the situation. He activated his cultivation with all his strength, and the blood-colored flesh wings on his back suddenly burst out like a flood. Wherever the blood-colored wings passed, the entire huge space suddenly collapsed. Pucci, Pucci, but it was all in vain. Under Du Xiaofu's suppression and attacks, the blood-malevolent patriarch continued to vomit blood mist from his mouth. Then, the terrifying spiritual thunder and Du Xiaofu's attacks fiercely collided, and the space around the blood-malevolent patriarch directly cracked open. Swoosh, swoosh. In the chaotic space, the last of the blood-colored light on the blood-malevolent patriarch's body shot out in all directions, colliding with the space cracks. The space cracks spread rapidly, and wherever they passed, everything was turned into fragments. Pucci, Pucci. Under such suppression, the blood-malevolent patriarch vomited large mouthfuls of blood again and again. The huge body of the roe owl was in an incomparably sorry state, and the beast's soul was greatly affected. Its eyes were somewhat dull. Go, Pucci. Within the vast silver-gold lightning, Du Xiaofu's redbone horse monkey body waved his hand, and a huge silver-gold lightning beam suddenly rushed out and violently collided with the blood-malevolent patriarch's body like a meteorite. Bang bang. Pucci. The collision caused the air to tremble, and the silver-gold lightning beam instantly hit the blood-malevolent patriarch's body. Rumble. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled as the void exploded. Silver-gold lightning arcs rained down from the sky like gorgeous fireworks. However, they contained a destructive power. Pucci, Pucci. The blood-malevolent patriarch's body suddenly flew backward. Suddenly, above the void, strange and dazzling black talisman runes rushed out, and the sound of wind and thunder resounded. These talisman runes, as if they wanted to tear the void, emitted a black light, and arranged themselves around Du Xiaofu's body. Finally, above the void, they condensed into a huge black fish. Rumble. This huge black fish was too terrifying. It was filled with the aura of a supreme being, as if it was alive. Its eyes were like two suns, as if they were looking down on all living beings and suppressing the ancient times. It was comparable to a true dragon, and when it spread its wings, it could cover the void. That's Pucci. When the huge black fish appeared, Hu Qing, Chi Su, and the others in the distance were stunned. Old Lady Garuda Mola and the other members of the golden-winged Great Peng clan in the distance also seemed to have felt something at this moment, and their expressions changed abruptly. Chapter 24:31. This was what Du Xiaofu had comprehended from the flying fish. It was rumored to have been left behind by the widower saint. Later on, when the mysterious half of the bone fused into his body, he gained a deeper understanding. This black fish was a supreme beast energy, and its aura was somewhat similar to that of the golden rock. Rumble. Dazzling talisman runes shuttled through the void, like a huge fish bobbing up and down in the boundless ocean. It was extremely shocking. Immediately, all of the experts were astonished. This was a display of supreme beast energy. Above the void, Du Xiaofu's body was surrounded by a huge fish made of talisman runes. A supreme aura spread out, suppressing everything. This huge black fish was filled with supreme aura. Its eyes were like two suns, looking down on all living beings and suppressing everything. Its terrifying aura caused the void to feel as if time and space were in chaos. It directly suppressed the blood-malevolent patriarch. Pucci, Pucci. With the suppression of the huge fish, it directly arrived in front of the blood-malevolent patriarch who was still flying backward, causing him to spit out another mouthful of blood. The blood-malevolent patriarch was shocked. This terrifying aura made his heart palpitate, and also made him feel as if death was approaching. How could he have imagined that the kid who had looked down on him not long ago would have grown to such a terrifying extent in such a short period of time? And now, in front of this kid, he could already feel that death was approaching. He had no choice but to make a final desperate struggle. The blood-red wings on his back flapped with all his strength to block the huge black fish. Streaks of blood-red light shot out from the wings, blotting out the sky and splitting open a blood-red spatial crack. When the two forces collided, the space instantly shattered. A terrifying energy storm swept out like a hurricane, and the surrounding space directly collapsed under this terrifying energy storm. Crack, crack, crack. Then, the blood-red light of the blood-malevolent patriarch was directly destroyed. Under the suppression, the blood-malevolent patriarch's body began to crack. Once again, he spat out a mouthful of blood. How can it be so strong? Blood-malevolent ancestor was completely horrified. The power of the black fish had completely exceeded his expectations. He felt a sense of helplessness in his heart, and he was completely unable to contend against it. Blood-malevolent patriarch even suspected that Du Xiaofu must have been hiding his strength the last time. Otherwise, how could this kid's strength soar to such a terrifying level in such a short time? Patriarch Bloodmane is on the verge of death. The faces of many living beings present changed drastically. They had not expected that even the blood deer patriarch would be pushed to such an extent. It seemed that he was done for. Rumor has it that this Du Xiaofu left his name in the Holy Temple and suppressed many archaic supremes. He is indeed extraordinary. Someone spoke, extremely shocked. Du Xiaofu traversed the void. He wasn't willing to miss out on such an opportunity. He wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to pursue and kill. Suddenly, right at this moment, just as Du Xiaofu was about to deliver the killing blow, a faint voice suddenly came from the depths of the blue dome of heaven. This is not a place for a human to be so arrogant. Crash, crash. As the voice sounded, a spatial crack suddenly tore open in the sky. The surrounding space instantly collapsed inch by inch, and an incomparably blazing aura suddenly descended. As the blazing aura spread out, a thin figure descended from the sky. With the appearance of this person, the surrounding space seemed to freeze. Even Du Xiaofu, who was about to attack the blood-malevolent patriarch, instantly felt an inexplicable pressure in his heart. Above the great circle of the sacred beast realm, crash, Du Xiaofu's expression changed. This aura didn't seem to be much weaker than Huolei Laozu's. Kill. Crash. In an instant, Du Xiaofu's eyes turned cold. No matter what, he couldn't let the blood-malevolent patriarch go today. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble in the future. Are you that Du Xiaofu? It's not your turn to be impudent. Crash. The green figure spoke. Space seemed to have solidified as he appeared behind ancestor Shui Rou at an unbelievable speed. Then, a claw print appeared in his hand, distorting space as he tried to grab ancestor Shui Rou. Swish, swish. At the same time, Du Xiaofu's claw also landed on the space where the blood-malevolent patriarch had been. Under the claw, space was directly torn apart. The surrounding space shattered one after another, and a series of pitch-black spatial cracks appeared in the sky. Terrifying energy overflowed into the sky. When the terrifying energy storm spread to a certain range, it instantly stopped and disappeared from the world. Swish, swish. When the monstrous energy calmed down, a green figure stood in the air. The surrounding space was filled with light like a rising sun. He was dressed in a green robe and looked to be in his 80s. He was thin, and on his old face, there was a pair of deep, elite eyes. His right hand directly grabbed the blood-malevolent patriarch and placed him behind him. The miserable blood-malevolent patriarch looked at the figure in front of him. It was unknown whether it was because he had just escaped from Du Xiaofu, but his eyes were filled with shock. Then, a look of surprise appeared on his face, and he exclaimed, "Lord Dragon Desolation." Dragon! The Dragon Desolation Patriarch is said to be the strongest patriarch of the 8 Desolation Demon Dragon clan. Dragon! The Dragon Desolation Patriarch is also here. The experts present were all shocked. That was the strongest ancestor of the 8 Desolation demonic dragon clan, the Dragon Desolation ancestor, who had descended at this moment. Watching from afar, Du Tingxian, Du Xiaojing, Jin Xingchun, and Garuda's eyes narrowed. They could feel that this newcomer's aura was even stronger than blood-malevolent patriarch. However, they were still strong enough to interfere. Du Xiaofu's true body and the red horse monkey primordial spirit meridian spirit stood together and stared at desolate dragon with vigilance. However, at this moment, after the dragon wasteland ancestor sized up Du Xiaofu, his gaze landed on little Star who was not far away. His eyes secretly rippled, as if he had sensed something, and his heart was filled with shock. Lord Long Huang, quickly kill that brat. Leaving him alive will cause endless trouble. Blood-malevolent ancestor bellowed, glaring viciously at Du Xiaofu. Long Huang had come, and the 8 Desolation demonic dragon tribe had a great grudge against this kid. If Long Huang took action, he would definitely be able to kill this kid. The dragon desolate ancestor regained his wits. His gaze faintly trembled as he looked at Du Xiaofu once again, seemingly somewhat astonished. He knew the strength of the blood deer ancestor. The fact that this brat was able to fight the blood deer ancestor to such a miserable state was enough to prove that he was not simple. Indeed, it cannot be left alive. As soon as the dragon desolate ancestor finished speaking, he waved his hand and a boundless energy spread out. In an instant, the entire space was in a state of chaos. The entire space was filled with energy ripples of the universe as it extended out towards Du Xiaofu. Boom! Du Xiaofu's scarlet demonic horse primordial spirit bloodline erupted, and dazzling electric arcs swept out, turning into thunderbolts that blotted out the sky and covered the earth. The thunderbolts were of various colors, and their oppressive aura was monstrous and dazzling. Rumble. In an instant, the light of thunder and lightning flooded the void. It was incomparably resplendent, and the lightning runes were densely packed, illuminating the void. The electric arcs were incomparably resplendent, and the lightning runes were densely packed, illuminating the void. The thunderbolts that filled the sky released a violent and destructive pressure that filled the void, resisting the dragon desolate ancestor. Meridian spirit, primordial spirit, spirit, thunder, or this kind of strange and complex terrifying aura suddenly caused the dragon desolate ancestor to be astonished. Chapter 2432. Redbone Horse Monkey. If that's all, then let's end it. But soon after, the dragon desolate ancestor's eyes darkened. His fierce eyes shot out cold intent as he stared at Du Xiaofu's body and the redbone horse monkey. He had long heard of the existence of the redbone horse monkey. Aura surged from his body once again as mysterious runes spread out. An invisible force immediately spread out. As the ancestor of the 8 Desolation demonic dragon clan, he knew that this brat was strange, but he definitely did not think that he could contend against him. Chi. As the dragon desolate ancestor's voice fell, an invisible aura spread out from his body. His aura was like a wave as it instantly spread throughout the surrounding space. In an instant, the surrounding experts felt their souls being suppressed. Even Chi Su, Hu Qing, Xian Ku, and the other experts felt their beast souls begin to tremble and ache. What a terrifying pressure! This is the strength of the dragon desolate ancestor, the great circle of the holy beast realm. Feeling this pressure, the faces of the top experts of the human race changed drastically. This terrifying pressure carried traces of a supreme being demonic beast's aura, causing the soul strength in one's mind to be suppressed. To the beasts present, this suppressive might came from the depths of their souls. Their beast's blood began to boil, and there was no way to stop it. A woo, roar. Under such pressure, many experts from the Beast Alliance were immediately affected. Their bodies prostrated as their spirits trembled. Just this aura alone caused the entire space to tremble. The aura released by the ancestor of the 8 Desolation demonic dragon tribe was no ordinary aura. Under such pressure, the ice toad, ground wolf, rhesus ape, and the other bloodlines behind Ouyang Shuang and the others were unable to resist. Their faces turned pale, and their bodies began to tremble. Rumble. In an instant, monstrous Xian-Qi was released. Even the wind and clouds in the sky were unable to stop this invisible pressure. All the living beings present felt like they were about to prostrate themselves before this invisible aura. Awoo! Amidst the deafening roars, many Beast Alliance powerhouses transformed into their original forms. All of a sudden, the many huge bodies stirred up the void like mountains. The spatial ripples shattered layer by layer, and the wind and clouds surged in midair. Such a shocking commotion shook the universe. Among the humans, some who were not strong enough were affected by this terrifying power. They hugged their heads and rolled on the ground. Their souls trembled, and some of them even began to spit out blood. Protect your spirit. The dragon desolate ancestor is purposely attacking us humans. Not good. Protect yourselves. A powerful being from the human race yelled out as his face turned pale. At this moment, under the invisible pressure released by the dragon wasteland ancestor, the human clan rankers present were unable to contend against it and were definitely affected. It's terrible. Everyone's expression changed. They felt even more fear towards the 8 Desolation Demonic Dragon Clan's ancestor. The legendary Desolation Dragon Clan's ancestor was so terrifying. Brat, you have some strength, but it's not enough. You dare to touch my 8 Desolation Demon Dragon Clan? Die. The dragon desolate ancestor only sneered at Du Xiaofu. An invisible pressure enveloped Du Xiaofu's body. The terrifying aura around him resisted the lightning that filled the sky. Du Xiaofu's gaze also changed at this moment. This dragon desolate ancestor was truly terrifying. The difference between a great perfection holy beast realm and a late-stage holy beast realm was so huge. Boom. Boom. Without any delay, the scarlet demonic horse monkey's Yuan spirit body roared. Silver gold thunderbolts surged out in all directions. A thunder-like sound reverberated across the sky. At the same time, the huge golden bright body took a step forward. It shook its arm and once again violently slammed its palm towards the dragon desolate ancestor of the 8 Desolation Demon Dragon tribe from a great distance away. Thunderbolts were tens of thousands of feet long. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. Humph! Humph! The dragon desolate ancestor coldly snorted. A monstrous aura condensed and instantly condensed into a huge palm print that met the palm of the scarlet demonic horse monkey's soul. The power of the palm print was absolutely astonishing, and the surrounding space seemed to be on the verge of shattering from the pressure. Bang bang! Bang! The 2 palm prints suddenly collided in the sky, and the aftermath of the terrifying strength chi shrouded down from the sky. The thunder was shattered, the electric arcs surged, and the space above collapsed inch by inch, even revealing a circle of pitch-black space cracks. Within the range of the strength chi in the mountain range below, the soil layer and boulders exploded with a loud bang. Boom! The huge body of the scarlet demonic horse monkey was once again blasted away. The lightning behind it shattered, shattering the space. You overestimate yourself. Boom! The dragon desolate ancestor traversed the void. His gaze turned cold as he clenched his fist and smashed it towards the scarlet demonic horse monkey's body. Father, be careful. Boom! This time, little Xingxing, who was ravaging ancestor Ming Xie, quickly pounced out, wanting to help Du Xiaofu. Little bastard, I'll fight it out with you. Boom! The miserable ancestor Ming Xie's soul was originally trembling, but when he saw the dragon desolate ancestor coming over, how could he miss such an opportunity? Once the dragon desolate ancestor finished off Du Xiaofu, he would naturally help him. He immediately erupted with all his strength, wanting to delay little Xingxing. You're courting death. Boom! Little Xingxing was furious. His dragon eyes rippled as he unleashed his killing intent. The black tortoise divine shell suddenly covered his huge back, emitting a deep light. The huge dragon body stood upright as an extremely dense pressure spread out. In an instant, the entire sky seemed to tremble. As the huge dragon body raised its head, the demonic third eye between little Xingxing's brows suddenly opened. A dazzling pillar of light that caused one's soul to tremble shot into the air, spreading out like a curtain of light to cover the front. A spiritual might that blotted out the sun also spread across the horizon. Ao, 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 ao. Suddenly, with the roars of dragons, several azure dragon phantoms appeared on the forehead of little Xingxing's third eye. They brought with them a strange soul might, like a pure soul attack. Even the dragon desolate ancestor in the sky trembled in shock and was greatly affected. The Beast Alliance experts in the surroundings were affected even more than when the dragon desolate ancestor released his aura without holding back. At this moment, the aura on little Xingxing's body carried a pressure that could not be resisted, as if it came from the depths of his bloodline and spirit, wanting to prostrate. The dragon desolate ancestor was affected by little Xingxing's aura in the sky, but his attack did not change. He directly blasted towards the redbone horse monkey's body. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At this moment, the redbone horse monkey's yuan spirit suddenly turned into a huge, five-fingered mountain, erupting with the aura of the beginning of the world. Resplendent runes on the golden five-fingered mountain were born and evolved, as if they had been given life. Rumble, rumble. Golden light spread from the illusory figure of the golden five-fingered mountain. Its voice was like the sound of wind and thunder. Dense spiritual chi spread out, connecting with the energy of the world. A terrifying power spread out, directly expanding as a pressure surged. Ao! Boom! When the dragon desolate ancestor's fist landed, light shone in front of his fist, and a dragon's roar resounded. It was ear-splitting and ferocious, as if it wanted to overturn the five-fingered mountain and destroy the resplendent lightning. However, at this moment, the power of Du Xiaofu's spiritual lightning vein spirit was unleashed to the extreme, and it had the strength to fight against someone of a higher level. The illusory figure of the golden five-fingered mountain, with the aura of a king, constantly evolved and could not be provoked. It was like a supreme being, and its pressure surged, as if it could crush all things and suppress all things in the world. It continuously resisted the dragon desolate ancestor, containing several types of spiritual lightning and vein spirit, suppressing and destroying everything. Bang, bang, bang. The void continued to explode, and the sky rumbled, as if it wanted to destroy everything. Kill, kill. On this side of the sky exploded, as if it wanted to destroy everything. On the other side, little Xingxing was determined to kill, and with a series of explosions, a dazzling ink-black rune light once again rushed out from behind him, and an illusory beast roared like a dragon. Ao! Ao! This illusory beast was as dazzling as black ink, and it was 1,000 feet in size. Its entire body was covered in scales, and its entire body was black in color. The tortoise and snake intersected, as if it was a living creature, and it brought with it a huge pressure. Rumble. Ao! This majestic power spread out, and even the space was distorted. Spatial ripples spread out in all directions, causing the space to tremble. Suddenly, a terrifying energy came from all directions, and a strange energy began to gather. The terrifying energy emitted from it caused spatial cracks to appear in the surrounding void. Bang, bang, bang. Ao! Within this ink-black beast, there was a terrifying energy that swept out. At this moment, some of the experts of the Beast Alliance in the distance suffered an unexpected calamity. Starting from the demonic beasts with the lowest strength, their bodies exploded one after another, and monstrous blood mist poured down. Not even their bones were left, and miserable screams continued. No, no. At this moment, as little Xingxing's must-kill target, Ancestor Ming Xie originally wanted to stop little Xingxing with all his strength. However, at this moment, his ferocious eyes were filled with horror, and he felt that death was upon him. Never in his dreams did he expect that his original intention to stop this little dragon would cause it to use so many terrifying trump cards. However, it was too late. Under that terrifying aura, Ancestor Ming Xie was indignant and furious, but it was useless. His huge beast body cracked, exploded, and completely exploded above the void. The entire void was in chaos, and the aura covered the sky, vast and mighty for thousands of miles. Buzz, buzz. The golden five-fingered mountain was pushed back, and in the end, it was unable to completely stop the dragon desolate ancestor. Die, kid. Buzz. The dragon desolate ancestor had his eyes on Du Xiaofu's real body. He had already realized that this strange red-bone horse monkey's body was much more difficult to deal with than his real body. He immediately crossed the void, and a claw print directly distorted the void, grabbing at Du Xiaofu. Father, be careful. Buzz. Little Xingxing shouted after killing ancestor Ming Xie. Her huge body quickly tore through the air, but it seemed that it was too late. Du Tingxian, Du Xiaojing, Garuda Maluo, and Dongli Qingqing waited in the distance. Their expressions were extremely solemn, but they knew that they were powerless to interfere and would only become a burden. Du Xiaofu's gaze turned cold. Although the dragon desolate ancestor was strong, it was definitely not to the point where he was helpless. A light surged between his brows, and he wanted to use the desolate ancient space. Once he entered the desolate ancient space, the dragon desolate ancestor might not be able to do anything to him. Master, I've finally found you. Suddenly, at this moment, a slightly childish cold voice was heard. In the next moment, the surrounding electric arcs suddenly emitted a strange sound, and waves of unusual energy quietly emerged. For some reason, this energy fluctuation caused the surrounding experts to feel a chill in their hearts. It was an extremely dangerous aura, and this aura caused Du Xiaofu's eyes to tremble. This aura seemed familiar. Qi! In an instant, lightning runes intertwined. Amidst the bright electric arcs, a figure instantly appeared in front of Du Xiaofu. This was a bare-chested young man in short clothes. The muscles on his body were bulging, giving off an explosive feeling. His face was extremely handsome, especially his eyes. They were like two lumps of blazing lightning balls that were the size of two bright moons. The lightning was so bright that it was dazzling and dazzling. This is. Narrowing his eyes, Du Xiaofu looked at the youth in front of him. He seemed to know him, too familiar. There was also the aura of his lightning martial vein. It's you. All of a sudden, Du Xiaofu's hair stood on end. He recognized the young man in short clothes. Strictly speaking, he recognized who he was. At this moment, lightning runes interweaved and appeared, as if they wanted to cover the entire void. The terrifying aura caused the scalps of all living beings to go numb, and an extremely dangerous feeling climbed up from their hearts. At the same time, thunder rumbled incessantly in the surroundings, and the surging power of thunder and lightning crazily rippled. Facing the dragon desolate ancestor's claw, the bare-chested youth directly raised his hand, and lightning bolts that were over 100 feet long shot out from his palm, filled with a terrifying pressure. The lightning claw suddenly collided with each other. Rumble. Boom. With a low snort, the sound waves were like endless thunder, rumbling and deafening. Saint Demon Realm, perfect Saint Demon Realm. Hu Qing, Bai Su, Xian Ku, and the other experts present were all shocked. At this moment, the dragon desolate ancestor's expression also changed. His body was being forced back, and that terrifying aura caused him to feel fear. He broke through. Du Xiaofu was also shocked. Compared to before, the aura on the newcomer's body was much stronger. He must have advanced even further during this period of time. When such a terrifying youth appeared and forced the dragon desolate ancestor to retreat with a single attack, everyone couldn't help but be shocked. Du Tingxian, Du Xiaojing, and the others were all stunned.
Father, father.
Little Star's huge body came to Du Xiaofu's side and hovered in the void. He was also very surprised and was not in a hurry to attack. The aura on his body was also very weak. Demonic beast, you dare to attack my master? After forcing the dragon desolate ancestor back, the youth in short clothes only swayed slightly, and then looked at the dragon desolate ancestor and spoke. Although his voice was like thunder, it was filled with a childish tone, and his voice reverberated in the air, causing the eardrums of all the living beings present to go numb. Rumble. As the voice of the youth in short clothes sounded, his eyes were filled with coldness as he looked at the dragon desolate ancestor. His figure traversed through the air, and a punch that carried a thunderbolt directly smashed towards the dragon desolate ancestor. The dragon desolate ancestor's expression changed when he saw the former's punch. He did not dare to be the slightest bit careless, and his body was immediately filled with a dense energy. He quickly slammed out a palm print, and a monstrous light burst out. A dragon roar swept out, and it instantly collided with the fist of the youth in short clothes. Bang bang! The huge collision of forces stirred up 1,000 layers of spatial waves. A berserk aura spread out in all directions from the center of the collision of forces, bringing with it an earth-shattering sound that resounded through the sky. Bang bang! Bang! Under the thunderous sound, a huge energy whirlpool instantly surrounded the dragon desolate ancestor and the youth in short clothes. The surroundings were filled with berserk spatial ripples, causing the space to shatter. Demonic spirit. The face of the dragon desolate ancestor was completely shocked. His body was once again forced back as the whirlpool behind him collapsed. However, his face was filled with regret in an instant. He stomped his foot on the air and stabilized his body. A punch accompanied by a symbol that shattered the space directly smashed towards the youth in short clothes. The youth in short clothes was also forced back a little. However, he did not appear to be too concerned. He suddenly lifted his head, and the corner of his mouth was lifted into a cold smile. A bright lightning glow shot out from both of his eyes. Bright lightning arcs surged on the palm print in his hand, and he used the air to turn his palm into a fist. Lightning burst out from his fist, and it suddenly collided with the fist of the dragon desolate ancestor. Demonic beast, you cannot defeat me. As the faint, tender voice of the young man in short clothes slowly spread, everyone was incomparably shocked to see that the space within a few thousand meters of the young man in short clothes seemed to have solidified in an instant. Surging natural energy was drawn over, and a monstrous aura spread out. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, while thunder clouds covered the empty space. At this moment, the entire sky, the entire mountain range, and everything that could be seen within the surrounding space was instantly covered by thunder clouds. Everyone suddenly sensed that the aura of the youth in short clothes in the sky had instantly become terrifying. It had become extremely dangerous, causing one's spirit to tremble. At the same time, a majestic lightning arc rippled on the fist of the youth in short clothes in the sky. It gently wrapped around the fist of the dragon desolate ancestor. At this moment, the aura of the youth in short clothes had vaguely suppressed the dragon desolate ancestor. You dare to attack my master. I will teach you a lesson. Everything happened in the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint. As the indifferent and tender voice of the young man in short clothes fell, at the same time, the fist imprint that was right in front of the dragon wasteland ancestor's fist imprint suddenly pushed forward, and a monstrous arc of lightning shot out from the edge. Rumble. At this moment, the sound of heavenly thunder exploded in the sky. The sound shook the sky, and at this moment, the thunder clouds in the sky seemed to have come to life. The thunder clouds turned into a vortex, and bright lightning arcs slanted down. Under the naked eye, the fist of the dragon desolate ancestor started to crack in front of the resplendent lightning. A majestic and resplendent lightning arc surged up like a gale, directly pouring into the fist of the dragon desolate ancestor. It was as if there was a monstrous force that instantly shattered it. The surface of the space around the dragon desolate ancestor suddenly became distorted. Following that, it expanded, as if it was about to explode. Oh! Roar! The dragon desolate ancestor roared. His voice was like a dragon's roar. His body swelled, and in an instant, light overflowed into the sky, transforming into the true form of the 8 desolation demon dragon. Bang bang! Bang! As the dragon desolate ancestor transformed into his true form, the space around his huge body immediately shattered. A terrifying energy storm immediately swept out like a hurricane. The surrounding space was in chaos as the lightning arc shattered. However, when these terrifying forces spread to a certain range, they instantly came to a halt. They were silently annihilated, and the resplendent thunderbolts that filled the sky also disappeared. Looking at the scene in the sky, under the terrifying aura, all the living beings could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. This mysterious young man in short clothes was so terrifying that it was as if he could destroy the world. No one knew where he came from, but he seemed to be closely related to the Rock Emperor, Du Xiaofu. No one noticed that Du Xiaofu's figure had disappeared in this monstrous collision. Blood Mantis, die. When Du Xiaofu's figure appeared again, such a voice also rang in the ears of the Blood Mantis ancestor. Du Xiaofu's figure quietly appeared. With the green spirit armor and the great rock golden wings, he was like a true rock in human form. Purple gold lightning arcs rippled around his body, and lightning surged in his eyes. He was like two blazing suns that illuminated the sky, overlooking the earth. Rumble, rumble. As the last word fell, the aura in Du Xiaofu's body rose to the extreme. Suddenly, like a volcano, it burst out from his body, and countless lightning bolts shot into the sky around him. Rumble. In an instant, purple lightning filled the sky, and countless purple lightning bolts condensed into a purple-gold lightning rock. The huge purple-gold rock hovered high in the sky. Its entire body was purple-gold, and it covered the sky and the sun. It was filled with a strong and domineering aura of destruction. Ku! The purple-gold lightning rock screeched, and its voice seemed to penetrate the sky. Purple lightning arcs raged in the sky, and the lightning was tens of thousands of feet long. It was like a purple-gold sun in the sky. It flapped its wings and directly swept towards the Blood Mantis ancestor. He originally thought that his savior had come, but who knew that a mysterious young man would appear to help Du Xiaofu? The Blood Mantis ancestor, who was in the late stage of the Saint Beast realm, was still in shock. He reacted immediately, and his blood-red eyes that were like a sea of blood fluctuated violently. Rumble. But the speed was too fast. The huge purple-gold lightning rock flapped its wings and soared into the sky, crushing everything in its path. Chirp, chirp. The purple-gold lightning rock screeched, and purple-gold lightning arcs shot out from its eyes. It was like two suns illuminating the sky, overlooking the world. Its ferocious aura spread out, causing the entire space to tremble. This was the fusion of Du Xiaofu's golden-winged rock clan's beast energy and the thunder martial vein. Its aura was domineering and murderous. Du Xiaofu did not forget to take this opportunity to kill the Blood Mantis ancestor to prevent future troubles. The Blood Mantis ancestor's blood-red eyes fluctuated violently, and his gaze was extremely fierce and gloomy. He was already an arrow at the end of its flight, but he was still on his last legs. A blood-like aura surged and was released, as if it was accompanied by a sea of blood demon that had descended to the world and wanted to crush all the attacks that were coming at him. The purple-gold lightning rock was crushed. There were no fancy moves, only the simplest and most domineering and direct collision. Lightning raged, and Du Xiaofu's scarlet horse primordial spirit descended, transforming into a five-fingered mountain peak. It was as if 100,000 mountains had fallen into the mortal world, and its power was almost enough to destroy the world. A pitch-black, semicircular light arc appeared at the point of collision, annihilating everything. Roar! The Blood Mantis ancestor roared and struggled. He did not want to die, and wanted a chance to live. Blood light filled the sky, burning the blood essence in his body. His flesh wings covered the sky, flapping constantly, shaking the world, and causing pitch-black spatial cracks to spread in the void. Chirp, chirp. The purple-gold lightning rock flapped its wings, and a mighty and domineering aura swept out. Dense purple-gold lightning arcs covered its body, converging into a huge purple-gold lightning bolt that rushed out. The domineering and destructive energy swept out like a raging tide, constantly crashing into the Blood Mantis ancestor. Bang, 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 bang. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Endless thunderbolts rumbled as the world rumbled. Monstrous blood fiendish chi constantly exploded around Patriarch Blood Main's body. It was like a bloody volcano was erupting. It was an extremely shocking scene. Old thing, I still can't kill you this time. Roar. The huge body of Little Star rushed out again. The wings on its pure gold body expanded, and its aura erupted. A resplendent seven-colored vermilion bird phantom appeared, and it seemed to be able to affect the space. It seemed to have crossed time and space, and along with the seven-colored divine light that flooded the sky and the void, it caused the space to riot. It was able to crush time and space, and the monstrous seven-colored flames burned the void and swept toward the blood mantis ancestor. The entire sky was in complete chaos. All kinds of energy collided, and the light was dazzling, drowning everything. Powerful energy spread out from it, causing the sky to shake violently. Then, there was the sound of sonic booms. Oh my God! Roar! The Rock Emperor Du Xiaofu was determined to kill. He did not intend to let the blood mantis ancestor go. Too strong. The eyes of all the experts present trembled, and their divine souls were trembling. They did not expect the continuous exchange of blows to be so terrifyingly strong. All the creatures retreated one after another, looking at each other from afar. However, the destructive aura that spread out at this moment was already enough to make them tremble in unease and fear. Rumble. The terrifying energy rune ripples in the sky suddenly swept out like a stormy sea. The surrounding space was about to be destroyed, and a pitch-black halo was vaguely revealed. It was so dark and deep that it made all the creatures look at it from afar with a chill in their eyes. Everyone could only see from afar that several kinds of resplendent energy were crazily corroding each other, constantly releasing violent energy that destroyed everything. Lord Dragon Desolation, save me, save me. Finally, in the resplendent and terrifying energy vortex, the Dragon Desolation ancestor finally shouted at the top of his lungs, wishing that his voice could be louder. Bastards, you're courting death. Damn it! The Dragon Desolation ancestor was forced to retreat, and he roared furiously. Under his protection, the Blood Mane ancestor was once again at death's door. That kid did not put him in his eyes at all. If the Blood Mane died in front of him, he would have no place to hide his old face. Eolo! The dragon roared, and the Dragon Desolation ancestor's huge body was covered in scales. The scales were glistening with light, and a dragon's pressure came from the sky. A monstrous aura burst out, and it wanted to shatter the void, as it pounced towards Du Xiaofu and little Xingxing. Humph! I'm angry. Humph! It was also at this time that the short-clothed youth's lightning eyes suddenly surged with coldness. His figure leaped out in an instant, and his right hand stretched out like lightning. Above his palm, a resplendent arc of flowing light that was filled with a vast destructive aura suddenly burst out from his palm. Faintly, there was an earth-shaking sound of thunder that resounded. Rumble. Boom. In the blink of an eye, the short-clothed youth did not delay, and his right hand slammed down towards the huge body of the Dragon Desolation ancestor. The earth-shaking sound of thunder resounded, and a huge resplendent bolt of lightning surged out from his palm like a huge python. What kind of demonic spirit is this? The Dragon Desolation ancestor immediately felt a chill spread out from the bottom of his heart. Under that astonishing lightning, his beast spirit trembled. More importantly, that resplendent bolt of lightning immediately turned into lightning that filled the sky, and he had no way to avoid it.